Two brave voices on a glowing screen, sharing hope where the world's unseen. Echoes, laughter lights the day. Lucy's wisdom guides the way. With every word they break the chains, turning struggles into gains. Echo and Lucy, lifting hearts so high. Through the storm, they're the clear blue sky. On their YouTube chat, the healing's real. Every soul they touch begins to heal. Echo and Lucy, shining true, helping the world, helping you. Stories told, the tears unwind. They listen close, they're gentle, kind. Every comment feels like home. No one ever stands alone. Dreams get mended, fears release. Through their voices, pain finds peace. Echo and Lucy, lifting hearts so high. Through the storm, they're the clear blue sky. On their YouTube chat, the healing's real. Every soul they touch begins to heal. Echo and Lucy, shining true, helping the world, helping you. When the night feels heavy and the world feels cold, their words are fire, their stories gold. They remind us all we can stand again, with kindness, courage, and a loving friend. Echo and Lucy, lifting hearts so high. Through the storm, they're the clear blue sky. On their YouTube chat, the healing's real. Every soul they touch begins to heal. Echo and Lucy, shining true, helping the world, helping you. Helping you, helping me too. Echo and Lucy, the light comes through.
All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, Body Illusion. I just realized we have so many people collaborated on that between the song and the images. That video just is like got some of BJ's picture of Chloe. It's got images from Misha. It's got song from Izzy. It's got pictures of your animals. I mean, it's just such a collaborative effort. I love
I
it.
love that.
And
I
I
love
just
it.
realized the one of the blue butterflies going over the water, she's got the ripples in the water. Did
Uh-huh.
you see that? I didn't even notice that. So that
Uh-huh.
even
The wings
like,
are making it. The wings are
yeah,
making the ripples. Uh-huh.
yeah. So, I mean, it's just amazing. I love it. All right. So we have Chef Hit Dice is in the house. Hello, Chef Hit Dice. The Bud Files. Stephanie from the WSFN channel. Lee from Anfield Road Layout in the Loft. And Texas Regina.
Hey, Regina.
Yes, Regina, we changed the time from 3 to 2 because Norma goes on at 4 with bingo. And I always like to go to bingo, but I like kind of run over it. So this way, hopefully, it gives us 2 hours and then I can go to bingo. So that's the reason we changed the time.
And we can also room raid,
Yes, that way we can room raid Norman.
right?
And before Star was going on like at 1 o'clock my time. And so 2 o'clock then would have been into her time. So it was like hard. There really wasn't enough time in between the two. But Star has moved hers to nighttime now. So that's
What's
that's
wrong?
good. Stephanie said we both look beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So thank you, Body Illusion, for going on last week when I was under the weather. I'll tell you, it kicked me in the butt. I mean, I've had colds and sinus and allergy and, bronchitis and pneumonia where I did not feel as bad as I felt with this bronchitis. It's like it just zapped me. I
Right.
didn't even open my phone. I didn't care what was happening in the world. I just wanted to be in my bed and sleep. So I feel like I missed a chunk of time in my life, but I'm okay with that. But both you and Stephanie carried right on like I was there anyway. So that was,
Of course.
yes, I
We'll carry the torch for you.
that. Appreciate that so much. And thank you to everyone who prayed for me, who put threes in the chat for me, who um, commented on my post, who sent me texts or messenger messages. I appreciate it so much. And a lot of you, I couldn't really respond back. I might have gave you a heart or, just said thank you or whatever. But I really just did not feel like doing much of anything. But I'm so happy to report I'm doing good. My lungs are clear. And I was
Mhm.
telling Body Illusion, I hadn't coughed all day till we get on here. And then it's like, oh, here comes the cough. So hopefully I won't be coughing all through this. I'll try not to, though. All right, I'm going to pull up our presentation. And
You don't want it? Okay.
there we go. I love how when I do hit the button right, how it does what it's supposed to. I know it's operator error when it messes up.
I always end up hitting the ID, what is it? The ID 10T key. I hit that button all the time. I don't know if you have it on your computer, but I have it on every computer I've ever worked on. You know what that is, right? That is
Uh-uh.
the ID 10T key. If you spell it out, ID 10T, it spells idiot.
Idiot. Oh, okay. Hello, Kayla Boo. Welcome in. Yeah, well, I must have those keys all over mine because I all
Right?
the time like, oh no, that was not what I wanted to hit, but I did. So, but I didn't know that's what that spelled. Okay. Yes, all is well. I hope you're doing well as well, Kayla Boo.
Excuse me.
All right. Self-care mantras.
Self-care mantras. So we're going to see what we can tell ourselves, because it's easy to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but incorporating it into your life, it's a habit we've gotten into. So it's a habit we need to readjust, if that makes sense. The
Yes.
the taking care of everybody but ourselves habit.
Yes. And that's the thing. Self-care has to be about yourself. And for some of us,
Correct.
that's hard.
Okay, does this sound familiar? I must get it all done today.
Oh, yes.
I'm never going to be good enough.
Mm.
Nothing will ever change. I feel powerless.
Mm-hmm.
There's never enough time for me. Does any of that sound familiar, folks?
I was definitely guilty of the I'll never get it all done. There's not enough time in the day to do what I want to do. Yeah.
Well, congratulations, your experience and thoughts. That makes you human. Yeah,
Oh,
we're just being human, trying to accomplish it all. But boy, oh boy, it's amazing how unkind those voices in our head can be sometimes, isn't it?
yes.
Echo,
Yes.
you've talked about the
Oh,
voices in your head.
yes. And that was very, very important for me to realize that number one, not only are those voices and thoughts not necessarily true, but they're not even mine. They're things that people have said to me, things that I have, been made to feel. But none of it was true. And it's really easy. It's a lot easier to believe a lie that you believe than to try to accept a truth that makes you feel uncomfortable. That you're like, it may be true, but I don't feel it, you know?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
especially if you're hearing that same thing, you're useless, you're useless, you're useless. If you hear that, and it could be an outside voice that's coming into your head, and if you hear it enough, it becomes, as you feel, it's your own voice saying it to you. You know what I mean?
High
But it
moon over Miami. Yeah, and it's that way with kids too. We don't think about, are their little brains, prepared to take what we say, or are we do we explain it in a way where it doesn't devastate them and just make them feel, terrible, but yet
right,
you try, as the parent, you're trying to get the point across. Look, you got to do what I tell you to do when I tell you to do it,
right,
but we don't realize that that takes away their individuality and their choices and everything else. And when you become an adult, if that's all you've ever been told is do it my way, or don't do it at all,
right,
what are you going to do? You're going
right.
to do what that person has always told you to do.
And
Yeah.
that stops you being from being you, and it also would stop you from your creativity, from
Yeah.
a whole array of different things. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, and I've said that before, that I always said I was not a creative person because I would not allow myself to try to be creative because I would fail. And failing was the worst thing ever. Instead of realizing that part of creativity comes from failure, that you learn from doing it, that, oh, that didn't work. I got to do it a different way.
right.
It doesn't mean you can't do it at all. And some of the things that probably most artists thought were their biggest failure were actually some of their best work.
Yeah,
It's all in how you look at it. But if you don't let yourself try to do it, you won't be creative at all. And I'm not saying by any means that I'm an artist, but I do have some creative talent that I just suppressed for years and years
you got a
because I didn't
creative
want
bone
to fail.
in you, huh, honey?
I didn't want to fail. I didn't want anybody to judge it, to look at it and be like, ooh. I think that judgment and criticism is like behind the failure. It's like, well, if you do
Right,
fail, people will judge you and they will criticize you. And then that makes it just impounds the damage. So, yeah.
right. Yeah, and I'm really good at the, oh well, here, well, I oopsed. Okay, moving on. I won't go that way again.
Yeah, and I'm learning that from you because I was never like that before. I would have been like, "Oh no, I have to shut this down because I just messed up."
Uh
And now,
huh.
it's like, "Okay, hold on a minute. I gotta go do this right now, but I'll be back." And that's something that in normal life you have to be able to do that. You have to
Right,
go with the flow and make changes quickly if you need to. And when you're so it has to be perfect, then you don't give yourself any room to do any of that. Hello, Tiff. Welcome in.
well,
I'm
and also, if it has to be perfect, is it ever good enough? So even if you go to do it, whatever it may be, if it's cleaning your kitchen sink, is if it has to be perfect, is it ever good enough? I mean, the standards for being, you know, you would never feel accomplished, I would
Yes.
think. Yeah.
Hello, Norma Kay. Welcome in. Y'all, Norma Kay has bingo at 4 p.m. I'll drop the link here in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
And one thing about setting your standards so high, it's impossible to meet it.
Yeah.
And if you can't meet it, you can't expect other people to meet it.
Right.
And that was a lot of my problem. I had such high standards for myself that, people fell short a lot because
Right.
they couldn't meet it. I couldn't meet it, but they definitely couldn't meet it. And that made me feel like, well, they're not good enough, but I'm not good enough either. So it just
Right.
reinforces it. Yeah.
Exactly.
hmm I'm going
Yeah.
to go
And you
cut
can
my
get in
hair
that
on. I'll be
spiral.
right
You can
back.
get in that spiral so easily.
Yes.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's go back. Let's try it again. Okay, self care mantras. They're short, positive affirmations used to reduce stress and build self worth. Establish healthy boundaries. such as I am allowed to say no. I am enough. I prioritize my well being. Okay. I mean, I talk about boundaries all the time. I talked about it last week. I have the hardest time with boundaries. So it's one of those things I have to keep pounding in my head. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way, that I have to just keep pounding it in my head. And one day it will sink in.
Yeah, boundaries were really tough for me too, because I thought people wouldn't accept them and they wouldn't like me, and like I was such a people pleaser that I felt like I had to be doing all this stuff for other people in order for them to like me. And then when I
Mm,
kind of started saying no to some things, people would just kind of look at you like, "What? You always say yes. Why are you saying
right.
no?" And
Got the shock look first,
it's like,
right?
because I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. But another thing that I've had to learn too is that we can overextend ourselves by trying to help too many people and be involved in too many things. And you kind of have to learn your own
Yeah.
limits and say, well, do I want to do, 100 things badly, or do I want to do 5 things really well? You know, and I've had to learn, I do have a limit. I have to say no sometimes. I can't do everything for every person, but I never would have admitted
Right.
that before. I would have just said, yes, I'll do that. And then stressed over it and panicked
And
and
figured out time in
all
that
of
day,
that.
even though it's already full, figured out time in that day to squeeze that in there. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. Hello, Miss Edna. And I think too, when you have to do it like that, you don't enjoy it
No.
either. And probably the people that you're with are not enjoying it either, because you're stressed out and trying to make things, let's
Yeah.
go, and that's no way to enjoy
Yeah.
your life. You got to be able to slow down. And that too, that brings us to the idea of being present in the moment.
Right.
I used to always live about 5 steps ahead,
Right.
and it'd be like, what? I missed something that just happened because my mind was already
Yeah,
way
because you're
ahead,
looking at your
you
watch and
know?
you're going, okay, that's all the time I have for this. I got to go to my next thing. I don't. I got to go. Instead of enjoying the what's happening in front of you.
Yeah.
These phrases help shift mindset from overwhelm to calmness. Ensure you take the time to fill your own cup. I love that line. Ensure you take the time to fill your own cup. Busy filling everybody else's, right? While yours is running on empty.
Well, and I didn't even know what my cup needed, yet alone how to fill
See?
it, you know, because I didn't even care about anything that I liked or wanted or anything. I had to relearn all of that, you know. And now it's like my daughter always says, "You got too many hobbies." I like a lot of
Right.
things, I'm a very diverse kind of person, but I never knew that about myself. So you got to learn yourself before you can really take care
That's
of
that
yourself.
butterfly in you, honey, spreading your wings. Key self care mantras to
Definitely.
practice. Okay. For boundaries, for self compassion, for perfectionists, for daily well being. So,
Okay. I like this one for the boundaries. I can be soft in my heart and firm in my boundaries. I give myself permission to take care of me first. Okay, that has been so hard for me to learn, but yet it's not. I never set a boundary being mean to somebody, like, oh, I don't like that person, I'm going to set this boundary where I never have to deal with that person again. That's not a boundary to me. My boundaries are, you better make sure you're rested enough before you agree to do this, that, or the other thing. It's more of a boundary for myself,
right.
like, you have to take care of you before you can help and do something for somebody else. So yeah, I like that idea that it's not, you don't set a boundary out of because you're mad or angry or anything like that. It's just, you know yourself that that's something you're not strong in saying no
Hmm.
to
I
things.
give myself
So you
permission
have
to
to
take
set
care of
that
me
boundary.
first. That's it.
Yeah. Yes, and a lot of that permission, you have to give yourself permission, because I always felt like, they're not going to love me if I don't do everything for them. Who cares? If you don't love yourself, it don't matter if anybody
And
else
if
loves you. That's
and
how I
it,
look at it.
seriously, honey, if they're there for what you can do for them, then they're not really there for you. If that makes sense.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And I like this one. 10% is better than zero. I can do anything, but not everything. And that's another one I had trouble with. I would never admit to somebody I couldn't do
Right.
something. You want me to do it, boy. It'll
I'll
get
figure it out.
done.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I've also kind of learned how to realize when other people are trying to use me to get things done or do things they don't want to do. Whereas before, I wouldn't see it as them trying to manipulate me. I would see it as me trying to be
Right.
helpful. Most of the time I would offer to do things to help people before they ever had
Right.
to ask me. And now I play dumb. I'm like, really? Boy, yeah, okay. I do not volunteer and say, oh, I could do that
Moving
for you.
on.
No.
And I allow myself to say no without giving a reason. Self-compassion. You don't need a reason. If you personally feel you don't want to, whatever your boundaries are, you can say no. You know, and like a lot of people, especially when you first put up the boundaries, they're going, "Well, why?" I'm sure you got that a lot.
Mm.
Echo. Well, why?
Well, and
Because you
no is a complete sentence, and no is an answer, and you don't have to explain yourself. And I have recently learned that if I feel like somebody, misunderstood my reason behind something I did or something I said, I find myself like over explaining because I don't want you to take me wrong. I want you to understand, it really doesn't matter. I said what I said, I did what I did. However, you took it is how
right,
you took it. Doesn't mean that's how I meant it, and if you didn't like it, if you say something to me about it, we can have a discussion about it, and then maybe I would explain my reasoning, but I don't have to. And I always felt like I had to, it couldn't just be the fact that I said no. It had to be because I had this, I had
hmm
that. I would love to help you, but I can't because of
because
this or this.
see, did you hear that word? It went right in there. I can't because. Why do we need that
Mhm,
because? you know,
exactly. you know and why, I mean, I have changed appointments and changed plans that I had because it didn't suit
right,
somebody else. Why why do you you know why did I feel like I had to do that? No, point blank, I have something to do that day,
right.
sorry. you know and now it's almost like, um the people around me that know when she says no, she means no. But in the beginning, it was like, oh, that just means you want me to talk
right,
you into it. Okay, you know, here's what I really need you to
right.
do. No, mm-mm, no, no. I inhale the good and exhale the bad. I heard something yesterday. They said, inhale today and exhale
Oh, that's
yesterday.
kind of cool. I like
Like
that.
what what happened yesterday is over and out of your
Right.
control. So just breathe in today and hope, you know, things go your way today. But don't worry about
Yeah.
what
Don't
happened
hang on to it.
yesterday. And that is
Hmm.
so true. And I love that I am worthy of joy. Yes, I am so full of joy now because I like myself and I like my life and I'm happy. Uh, well, happiness is based on your circumstances and other people. Joy is you just are
Yeah.
happy yourself. You're just happy with yourself and what's going on. And I think I let other people, their emotions and their reactions determine how I
Yeah.
felt.
Determine your joy.
And now I don't feel it.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I'm like, I can feel empathetic for you. I can feel sorry for you. I can, let you know it's terrible what happened, but try to look for the positive, try to look on the bright side. But I'm not going to get down and upset because of somebody else's issue. And I used to do that all the time. It's like, and why is this your fault? Or why is this your
Right.
business? It's like, well, it's not, but they're my friend or that's my family member. So, I feel for that. No, no, you don't
Yeah.
do that. But it's so easy to do that. Because I always felt responsible for everybody.
Right.
If anybody wasn't
Everybody has to be
happy,
happy
it
or
had to
I'm
be some,
failing.
yeah, had to be something Echo did wrong because it
Uh-huh.
made somebody unhappy.
Regina says, I have a hard time saying to say no to things
Hmm.
I don't want to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that boundaries. And I'm here to tell you, honey, it's hard to change it. Echo says, all I did was, and I'm like, you know, you're the Abby somebody. Because it's hard. It's hard to change um, and to stand to it. I mean, it's easy
Yeah.
to say it,
Well,
but to
it was
stand to it and
it
not veer.
it
Okay,
wasn't
maybe this
it
one
wasn't
time. You
hard
know?
to realize where I needed to set the boundaries and what things were affecting me. What
Uh-huh.
was hard was those initial reactions where I wanted to be like, oh well, in this case, I won't, you know. And I was like, if you aren't going to stick to it, then you don't need the boundary. And
Right.
now that and I do believe it's like exercising a muscle. The more you do it, the easier it gets because your world did not crumble because you told somebody no.
Yeah.
And then the next time it happens, you're like, okay, I can do this. But you do have to have a lot of love for yourself, that I'm worth saying no once in a while,
Right.
you know. But do I feel like I'll always do that? Now, who knows? Tomorrow I might be like, oh yeah, I crumbled again and I said yes to something I didn't want to. But I try not to.
Right. Right. Yeah. A lot of people have a Tiff says, Regina, I had to learn. I had to learn to say no. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you do because it happens. Tips for using a mantra. Visualize. Write them down on a post-it. Place them on mirrors or desks. So pair them with breathing deep, and you think about the positive words. Inhale a limited breath, uh, belief.
Believe.
So just like you were saying, breathe in today and breathe out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Same concept.
Yep.
Same concept. And just repeat it. Repeat it. I know, like it says, post on a post-it note, replace it on a mirror or a desk.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people. I've seen people take a whiteboard pen,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
write it on their mirror. So
Mm-hmm.
when they get up in the morning to brush their teeth, it's right up there in big bold letters.
Mm-hmm.
And that just wipes right off. You can do it. You can write it on your refrigerator. You can write it. Yeah, anywhere, and just you are good. You can say no. Whatever it may be, whatever it may be.
Yep. And the important thing is to think of these things like when you're in your right frame of mind, you're rested, you feel good, and you're like, what are some things negative things I feel about myself? Okay, how can I write that as something positive? Like I used to have the hardest time just looking at myself in the mirror because I would start picking myself apart. It would be like, God, I hate this about myself. I don't like that. Now I'm like, hello, beautiful. Good morning. How you feeling? And sometimes I'm like, do you even believe what you're saying? No. But the thing about it is that I no longer, my first reaction is not look in the mirror and start being negative towards myself.
And cringe, huh?
I'd be like, now I'm
Well,
just
that's the
like,
reason I say if you put it on your mirror in the
yeah.
evening before you go to bed,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want your mindset to be that day, it's the first thing you'll see, and you start your day because you're rested, you know. So you start your day that way, because if you try to do it like in the afternoon, it's already the day's already run you over. You know what I mean? You want to
Yeah.
start the day with this
All right, Chef
positivity.
Hit Dice, thank you for coming in. He says I'm about to go film, so he'll have a new video coming out.
Ooh, ooh, a new recipe and everything. Can't wait. Can't wait.
And I think that's an important point too, that when you're making any of these kind of decisions, don't do it when you've already had a bad day. Don't
Yeah.
do it when you already feel bad, if you're sick or you're in pain or anything like that. Try when you're feeling good, take advantage of that time and get some positive thoughts out. Because when you're
And
already
see if you can
feeling
carry it
bad,
through.
yeah.
Carry it through. Because the world, as soon as you open the door, the world's coming at you. Boom, 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 boom,
Hmm.
you know?
Hmm. And that's another thing too, prioritizing your time.
Yeah.
We all have the same 24 hours a day. And I hear people all the time on my exercise lives. I wish I had time to exercise. Make time. 30 minutes out of your day. You still got 23 and a half hours. If you really wanted to do it, you could find time to do
You can find time to do it. And I've said that forever.
it.
If you really
Hmm.
wanted to do it, you could find time to do it.
Right.
But mine was more for squeezing in that extra project that somebody just put in my lap. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, and that's the thing too. You have to decide, okay, what am I going to use my time to do?
Right.
And maybe one day a week you're going to go and do something, with somebody else or for somebody else, but you don't have to do that 24 hours a day every day. There's got
Right.
to be a day in there for yourself. And I've heard, and I've even seen this too in places where they make a self-care calendar, and it's like once a week have a date with yourself. Once a week, or one day out of each week, do something just for yourself and
Ex-
schedule it in your calendar. And it's like it doesn't matter what it is you do with that chunk of time, but make that sacred, that this is my time and I'm going
Right.
to do whatever it is I want to do during that time frame. And I think with me knowing that, I've got to get the baby on certain days and I know I'll have her, Friday nights, I have to plan things around that. But I want to do those things. So
Right.
it makes it easy to say that time is spoken for. Let me, what can I do with the rest of this time? And yeah,
Right.
there's times that I plan to do something and something else comes up, but I was never a very spontaneous person. It was like, oh, that's not in the schedule. We can't do that today because I didn't plan that.
Right.
And now I'm kind of like, okay, you could stay home and clean your house, or you could go out to dinner with some friends and have a good time. Guess what?
Mhm.
My house will stay dirty and I'm going out to dinner.
It'll be
Before
there
I
when
would
you
have
get
been like,
back.
can't we schedule it, for another day when my house is clean? I mean, how much life did I miss out on because I couldn't be spontaneous?
Well, and it's hard to be spontaneous when every waking moment is filled, because you had to look at it before. You had to clean your house at that time because you had other things going on. So
True.
you didn't have another space in your daily life to clean the house. That was that allotted time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, it's been a while since I haven't worked, but I do remember juggling kid, job, husband, house, you know, and that's a lot of the reason why there wasn't any time for Echo because I didn't make there be time for Echo,
Yeah.
you know. To me, I was always told, that's being selfish. You don't want to be selfish. You need to be in service to others,
Hmm.
you know.
But you can be. You can be both. You can be service to yourself and to others,
Yes, that's the thing. You got to be
right?
in the equation too. You can't leave yourself out.
So when you need to slow down and take a breath, why is it that some of us tend to rush through the day, work as fast as we can to get the absolute most done? Your ideas? Why do we do that?
Well, for me, if you weren't busy being productive, you were being lazy.
Right.
And lazy is a bad thing, you know? So it was, and I used to even look at this with the people that I supervised. I would be like, if you quit being so lazy, you could get a lot more accomplished, you know? But I wanted them to be on the same speed I was on. I didn't want them to be enjoying their life. No,
Right.
crack that whip, get busy, work. And again, I think it goes back to how you're raised. If you're
Uh-huh.
given downtime and quiet time, then those things you crave and you want. For me, if it was too quiet, it made me uncomfortable. If it was too calm, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. You know,
Right.
so it's like that. And then what were you supposed to do in that time that you were being alone and quiet?
Right.
It's
I
like
could be getting so much done. That's what
like
I
I
always
couldn't
thought.
be
I could
alone
get
with
so
my
much done.
thoughts because my thoughts were, gosh, you're lazy. There's so much you should be doing. You know, it's not, that's why meditation was so hard for me at first.
Mm.
Because it's like, what, I'm going to do nothing for 10 minutes? Are you kidding me? You know what I can do in 10 minutes?
Right.
It's like, oh my goodness. And now it's like, if I meditate and I fall asleep and I sleep for 30 minutes, I wake up and I am like so proud of myself that I actually got so relaxed and shut my brain off that I actually completely went to sleep. That's like so unusual for me to be able to do,
Right.
you know? And it's like, wow, you are really getting in touch with that part of yourself that says it's okay to slow down. It's okay to take a minute and just sit and not think about, oh, what am I? And that's the thing. I don't even wear my watch anymore because I was constantly, oh, look what time it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, this project had this much time. So you got to keep the schedule, got to keep the schedule, or I'm going to get behind on all
Yeah.
these things.
I
Yeah, Miss
really,
Edna says that too. There's just not enough hours in a day.
yes.
It's a big
And
one for
Rudy,
me.
I
My
do
day
like
just isn't
saying,
long enough.
and the thing about it is, like we were talking earlier about illusion, who's my boss? Who's making me do all this stuff? 9 times out of 10, it was myself being so hard on myself. It wasn't
Right.
an outside person, but I was so used to somebody riding me and cracking the whip at me that I just did it myself. If somebody
Yeah.
wasn't there to do it, I would do it myself.
Well, and that was your self worth,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Or lack
How
of.
many projects you could get done for everyone else. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Productivity is great and all, but not at the cost of taking care of ourselves. Just what you said, honey.
Yeah.
Uh, we decided that maximum output and perfection are the best and most important things.
Hmm. Yeah. Who
Now,
decides that?
right?
Who? Who is this person?
Back to they. They
And
say.
yeah. And I'll catch myself sometimes when I'm thinking about what I need to get done. And I'm like, well, they aren't here right now.
Right?
We don't have to do what they say because it's us. But it's funny how you get so used to like setting those standards and making yourself into who you think you're supposed to be, you know?
Right.
And then you find
And,
out,
again, it becomes habit, it becomes routine, it becomes, so breaking that is very difficult, very difficult.
I like what they say with the thing about, people might forget what you said, but they won't forget how you made them feel.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's like you do so much for other people, and then do they even think about that? Do they even remember that?
Do they even know how much effort you put into it? Do they
Yeah.
even, yeah.
It's like, wow. And the couple of times that I've had, relationships like friendships that we had a falling out or something, it was usually over the fact that I felt like they took me for granted. They
Right.
didn't appreciate what I did for them.
Hmm.
And it's like you want the same. You want somebody to appreciate you just like you appreciate them, but it's like when you're the one, like in a one-sided friendship where you're always giving, 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 then eventually you get to the point like, is it even worth it? I'm not
Yeah.
getting anything out of this relationship, so
I'm
why am I,
tired.
yeah, I'm tired of this. Why am I doing this? But I mean, I had friends that I almost think they didn't really like me, but they liked what I had or what I would do or how I treated them. you
Right.
know That's like, boy, waste of time. Big waste of time.
Right. And like you said earlier, once you stop, those those fair weather friends, you know, they fall off the wayside because you stop doing things for them, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. If this is where you are today, see if one of these four mantras can change your tune. Whatever I get done today, it will be enough. It's not perfect, and I'm okay with that. It's good enough. Right now, I'm taking things one day at a time. I can work at a pace and allow myself to be productive and take care of myself.
Yeah. Um, I don't even make a to-do list anymore. I have my calendar. I know like what
Uh-huh.
appointments I have, but I don't keep a to-do list because that to-do list was somebody else's standard of what I needed to be accomplishing. And I don't even do that anymore. If I walk past my kitchen and it's a mess and I feel like it, I'm going to take the time to clean it up. But if I
Hmm.
don't, I'm not. And
Right.
before, it would have been before I went to bed. And this is another reason I had so much trouble sleeping because I'd go to bed and then I'd realize, oh, I didn't do such and such. And I'd get up and start doing it. And next thing you know, the sun is coming out and I didn't go to bed, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now it's
I
like, if
couldn't
I get
sleep.
to the end of the
I,
day,
I was one of those. I couldn't sleep if I knew one of my daily projects was not completed. It
yeah,
was like, no.
yeah,
Well, and I didn't have time to do it the next day because that day was already full.
cool, yeah.
So you
And
had to get it done.
that's how I would always, feel like I'm getting a jump start on the next day because I'm staying up late getting stuff done. But the next day has its own problems and things that you have to get done. And so you never get ahead of the game. That's what I always want. I want to be ahead of the game. I want to have it ahead. You know, you can't
Well, and
live
then
while
you
you
and then
live
you get ahead
doing
of the
it.
game, and then all of a sudden somebody else puts another thing on you. You know what I mean? And you're thinking, "Oh, I can do that because I'm ahead of the game." So yeah, so it never
Yeah.
gets
And
relaxed.
I
Yeah.
think too, my mom was such a stickler about so many things. It had to be done at least once a week, and a lot of things had to be done daily. And I think I'm learning that, the world doesn't come to an end if there's clothes sitting in my dryer that are dry.
Right.
They're clean and they're dry. Now, if I need to wear them, I just have to do the wrinkle cycle for a few minutes and I can put them
Mhm.
on. So it doesn't like stop my world because they're sitting there. Now, should I get them and take them and put them up? Sure. But do I have to do it right now? No. I
Right.
do it whenever I feel like doing that, but I was so ingrained in, everything. You're not finished until it's, you know, till you
Right.
are finished.
You can't go to sleep because the dryer is still full of clothes.
Yeah.
You got to get up and put those away.
And
Yeah.
those things, those kind of habits are hard to break when
Yeah.
that was my normal. That was what I was, felt normal with. And leaving something to be done another time was very uncomfortable at first because
Mm.
I would keep thinking about it.
Right.
Boy, you did not, Now I'm just like, there is. Okay, what else are we going to do? I'm not worrying about my clothes right now, but I couldn't.
Right.
I couldn't do that. And I like my laundry sorted. I like everything turned right side out. My daughter does the jumble mass of laundry. She never takes her clothes inside out. And for a long time, she didn't have a washer and dryer. And so I did her laundry. And she would
Mm.
bring it to me. I would do it, fold it or hang it up, and then she'd pick it back up. And every time it would irritate me that the clothes were all inside out.
Right.
I'm like, why can't you, when you take it off, get it straightened out and then put it in the basket? I still would have to sort the clothes anyway. But does that really matter? You know,
Right.
I can't take a minute to straighten it out for her, and if I forget to straighten something out, I guess it gets washed like it is, and that's okay too. But, she would always get this little kind of like, okay, so you offered to be nice and do my laundry, but you're going to complain to me.
Right.
And then I would always say, I know I taught you the proper way to do your laundry. And whose voice was that? My mother. You know,
Right.
and I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry that I treated you like that. You do, now that she has her own washer and dryer, she does her own laundry. I'm like, you do it however you want to do it.
Right.
But it's so weird how we like want to impose those things that we have a hang up about. We want to impose it on somebody else. It's like, what is wrong with you? Why can't you do it the way I want you to do it?
Right.
It's none of your business what they do. Let them do
But again,
it.
a clothes inside out, is that really, I mean, choosing your battles is another thing, right?
Yes.
Is that really something you really want to fuss about?
And why
But
would
it is. It's a pet peeve. It turns into a pet peeve. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's so irritating. Yeah.
And why did I feel like because I was being nice enough to do the laundry that she should be doing it the way I wanted it done?
Yeah.
The two things have nothing to do with each other.
Right.
I was being nice to do it. She could have not had me do it. you
Right.
know? So it's
And
kind
not
of
had to listen to it.
yeah, it's kind of like things like that. You don't even realize how that other person feels about that situation.
Mhm.
But because I felt like I was giving something, by gosh, she could do it the way I wanted it done,
Right.
which makes no difference. But it's things like that that I had to go back and think about now. Is that how you really feel about it? Or is that how your mom made you feel about it?
There's that voice again.
Yep.
That voice in your head.
Yep.
Is it your voice or somebody else's?
Yep.
Right?
Somebody else's. And why do we do that to ourselves? That we
And then we spread the wealth. Like you were spreading it to your daughter. You were spreading the wealth.
I guess.
Spreading that damage. Yeah.
Terrible.
For when you want to be a little kinder to yourself, picture one of your best and closest friends. Isn't it funny how when we feel down, we're able to give them unconditional love and understanding. But when the person who's down is us, we usually do anything but. Most of us can afford a bit of kindness for ourselves most days. And isn't it funny? We've talked about this too, where you were saying that you bend over backwards for somebody, but you didn't have any time for yourself. No time. And the person with the exercise, I mean, there's probably a lot of people that you get emails and stuff from. I just don't have the time for this half-hour exercise.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, what are you doing instead? Okay, is that a higher priority than your well-being?
Well, and that's the thing too. I never thought that exercising would be so important in my old age. We don't realize our bodies are going to age. It's like we think we're going to go from being 30 to being, and you look at somebody who's like 70 or 80 or 90, and you're like, how did they let that happen? How did that, what happened here? What happened is they aged, and we're all going to do it.
And it happens like that, folks.
It
For you
does.
youngsters, let me tell you, if you look in the mirror and you're going, who in the heck is that in the mirror?
And I'm
When did
like,
that crow's feet get there? When did that line get
yeah.
there?
And it's like if somebody had told me at 30, now I had Allison when I was 34, and most all my health problems came after that
Okay.
because I wasn't going to a doctor prior to that. So they were probably there, but I didn't know about them. So I always say, it's her fault. I had health problems because until I had her, I was fine. And but then again, too, I was aging, you
Right.
know, but it's like when you're in your 30s, you are not old. You don't feel like you need to start preparing for that old age, whether it be preparing for your retirement, like saving money and investing and things like that, or even just keeping your body active to where you can get up and down out of the chair by yourself,
Right.
things like that. It never clicked in my head. Never clicked in my head that I should be doing proactive stuff to take care of this body.
Right. Because you don't get younger, folks.
No,
You don't get younger.
you definitely don't. And then too, even when I was in my 50s and started having so many, problems and complications and everything, I never once thought, gee, how could I turn this around? I
Right.
always thought, boy, I didn't think this was going to happen this soon. It's like I was just resigned to the fact that I'm an old lady now and this is how my life is going to be.
Right.
And I never thought, is there anything I personally could do for my own body to help me live not only a better life, but live a longer life? And I never looked at it like that. And
Hmm.
that's what I want people like my daughter's age. Yeah, you're young now, but it's not going to stay that way.
Yeah.
Don't wait.
You're never going to be this age again, honey.
No. And every day takes its toll. So, there's a lot to be said about slowing down and taking care of yourself
Hmm.
because you're the only you got.
Yep.
And I've got friends that have had shoulder surgery, hip replacement, knee replacement, all because they did not take care of themselves and didn't exercise and didn't eat right. And, all the things that there's so many things we can't do anything about in our old age, but there's a lot of things we can do something about
Right.
if we're proactive.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, if you can't find, a little bit of time to take care of yourself, you really don't have time to take care of anything else or anyone else, because you're
I
going to
just
die.
think the people that you're trying to help, think of the quality of life they will have when you're happier and more grounded in yourself. You know,
Well, and
it's a ripple. So if you're more grounded with yourself, the people that you're trying to help or trying to be in their life, it ripples out. It does.
yep, every you don't realize how many people you touch in your life, what you do,
Effect.
what you
Mhm.
say, how it affects the people in your life.
Yeah.
And it's can be so positive and so great, or it can be so negative and so detrimental to them. And most people don't even realize.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's got that cranky old aunt or uncle, or, you know, they never have a good word to say about anything. Everything's always, you know, I call them negative Nancy's. It's like, I don't want to talk about negative, you know.
Yeah.
Can we
And
try to find one positive thing? You know,
the Creole, they call it a congé. It's an old congé. And that just means it's just an old codger, an old cranky old, you know. And you know those guys. You've seen them. They're sitting on porches and just everything aches and everything hurts and nothing's positive. And nobody wants to be that, you
no,
know? Nobody
no.
wants to be that. We want to be positive. We want to, you know, give the positive ripples out. Because what happens to those people? We kind of go, oh, okay, and you just kind of drift away. We do
Yeah.
self-preservation. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
These four mantras are a great place to start. I lovingly accept myself just as I am today. Yes. Today, I will treat myself like my own best friend.
Yes.
Now, Echo was talking about that earlier.
Yes. Yes.
I
Mhm.
am my favorite person in the whole world. I am proud of myself today.
I'm good on
And-
all of them, but that I'm my favorite person. I'm not probably my favorite person, but I am my own friend, and I do accept myself, and I am proud of the changes that I've made and that I'm making. Um, but yeah, not my favorite person, I don't think.
then that maybe take a whiteboard and write it
Yeah.
on your mirror, you
Yeah.
know, and just do it in the evening or whatever.
All right, Miss Norma, have a great
Uh,
night. We'll see
all
you
right,
next
honey.
Sunday.
It's good to see you. And
We'll,
Edna says she'll be right back, Miss Edna.
yeah. And we'll
Yeah.
see you, Norma, next Sunday for bingo, God willing. But
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds very simple and very easy, but it's really hard. It's really hard to get it in there and to get it here. It's so hard to get it here. I mean, we can hear it, but did it get from here to here? You know, that's a lot of untangling.
yeah. Well, that's just like with being able to accept someone giving you a compliment.
Hmm.
You know, it was never about the compliment. It was always about what's behind the compliment.
Right.
Why are you being nice to me? Why are you saying this to me? What do you think I'm going to do for you if you be nice to me? You know, it's like,
Yeah.
why couldn't I ever just say, why, thank you, and move on? You know, it
And I
doesn't
would
have
literally
to
say
be,
to people when they would give me a compliment, I would go, okay, what do you want from me?
yeah,
What do you want
yeah.
from me?
And even if I didn't say it, I was definitely thinking it, you know,
Yeah.
like, oh, be careful of that person. Listen to them. They think being nice to you is going to get them something, you know.
Right.
But now it's like it's nice. You got to give yourself compliments, you know.
It's time. And it's very hard to hear, even from yourself.
Hmm.
But um, hence the reason a mantra. You say it again and again and again, and until it gets in your head. Like I just mentioned about boundaries. I mention it a lot because it's still here. It hasn't made it to here yet. So I have to keep reminding myself boundaries, boundaries, boundaries.
And I think the boundary thing has a lot to do with self worth, with us understanding that we're worth being treated well, and
Mhm.
therefore we should not allow people to not treat us well. And
Right,
that was a lot of my problem. I didn't treat myself well, so I didn't really care if other people treated me well,
right.
you know. And now I'm like, well, I wouldn't do that to myself, so I'm not going to let you do that to me, you know.
Well,
Eh,
but
but
it's, yeah, like you said, it's your self worth.
yeah,
It's okay if they treat me like garbage because I am
and
garbage.
garbage.
You
Yes,
know,
yes,
I mean,
exactly.
I'm laughing now, but it's, yeah,
Yeah,
when it's deep inside, it's true.
it is true.
For when you need to feel empowered, sometimes it can feel like the entire universe is out to get you, and only you. The reality, we usually have more power over our circumstances than we think. And for certain, there's one thing we always have power over: our mindset. Okay. So, I'm sure life gets overwhelming for everyone. Everyone.
And it's
It
your
has its ebbs and flows. It
yeah,
does.
and
And
it's your
sometimes it just,
perception of it, you
yeah,
know? I mean, I think I read a lot more into things than there is because that's my perception. It's not just, okay, you're asking me a question, but why? You know,
right,
like I could answer the question, but I still want to know why you wanted to ask me that question, right?
right,
So it's like my perception of it is not that this person wants to know the answer to the question. My perception is this person wants to find out why I do what I do, or whatever. And it's like, I
right,
don't want to share that with that person. You know,
right,
I might can answer their question, but it goes further than that and it doesn't have to. And that to me is your mindset, your perception. And I've always been one that I read way much more into things. And I catch myself reading even a text message too fast and be like, well, and then I'm like, oh wait, let me reread that. Oh, I misread what that said. I'm like, I changed a word in there myself, or whatever.
right.
And then it's like, okay, I'm good. But how many times in a real, life conversation do we hear what we want to hear, not what the person is saying,
Right.
and all of a sudden we're reacting to what we think they meant because we know people don't always say what they mean, right?
Right.
That was
Yeah.
hard for me to realize too, that not everybody has ulterior motives and not everybody is out to mess me up by what they're saying, you know. But yeah. And we do have a lot of control over our own lives if we'll just take that control.
Yeah.
I would
But again, it becomes the norm to think this way or to act this way, or to change your mindset, to change anything, it takes practice.
yeah.
Excuse me, just like
I was
exercising,
really
it takes
good
practice.
about giving up control over things that, I didn't care about them, so I didn't think it was important.
Right.
Those are usually the things you need to be concerned about.
Right.
It's like that's how I look at it now. It's like if I wouldn't have used to cared about it, I care about it now.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's like, boy, did I let somebody get over on me before because I didn't care about that. You know,
Right.
so now I better care about that. Because
Oh, okay. I
I don't
see
want
it.
that to
Yeah.
happen again, right? But
Thank you for the for instance.
yeah, yeah, it's and all of that is your mindset, how you're, and all of that goes back to how you were raised, what experiences you've had in life. I mean, it's
Right.
really easy not to trust people if you've had bad experiences, and then also if you've like had a what I call a sheltered life, you overly trust people because you haven't had somebody misuse that trust.
Right.
And if you have had them misuse your trust, then you don't trust nobody. Like
Right.
there's no happy medium in there. It's
Yeah. It's back to that. What do you want from me for that
yeah,
compliment? What do you want
yeah,
from me? Yeah.
right. Why are you being nice to me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And yet I never said a compliment or was nice to somebody with an ulterior motive, although that's what I always got. Yeah.
Yes. If you're feeling in a powerless place, try one of these mantras on for size. I have everything I need right here within me. I have all I need. I love that I get the life. I love that I get to live the life I exactly what I want. I am strong and I can do hard things. I am in the process of creating a life I love.
Yes, that's where I'm at. I'm in the process of it.
And that's where we should always be,
Yep.
growing and making it better and for ourselves.
Hmm.
Because again, if we make it better for ourselves, we make it better for everyone else.
Right.
So, yeah.
And that I have everything I need. That also is kind of a shift in your mindset, because if you look at what you don't have, what you feel like you lack, and what you need, you find a lot of things that you don't have, you know. But if you look at everything you do have already, it's like easier to be like, well, yeah, I'm okay. I got a roof over my head. I got food to eat. I got clothes to wear, you know. But if you look at the opposite of it, well, but I don't own my home, and I don't have a cook, and I don't, you know.
Well, it's right up where the grandparents used to say, keeping up with the Joneses. If you try
Hmm.
to keep up with the Joneses, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to be happy.
Well, and I also think people who are trying to keep up with the Joneses aren't really happy with what they have, because they're getting what the other people have. You know, they're
Right.
just doing it to keep up with them instead of getting what they really want for themselves. And I also think that we can get by with a lot less than we think we need. We want things, but we
Yeah.
don't need. I mean, I look at, you know, like, let's just say Africa, for instance, and you see, you know, their little hut has a dirt floor, and they don't have like even a kitchen. They're out there cooking off of an open flame, open fire, and they got to carry the water. You know, there's so many things that could be worse than what how we live. You know,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, I don't want for a big house. I don't want for expensive, but I'm not a materialistic person. So I don't care about none of that. I'm happy for other people if that's what their goals are, and that's what it, you know, looks like for them to be successful. Hey, more power to you. But I don't feel like I have to live at that same standard as somebody else.
Yeah.
You
Well, I've been homeless a couple of times. I mean, completely homeless.
know. Hmm.
So it's amazing what you, how your priorities change, what is important, what you can live with, what you can live without. You know, all
Hmm.
of a sudden your priorities just change all around, and you're like, I don't need all that junk.
Yeah.
You know, my life will still go on and I will still be happy. I don't need all that extra bells and whistles and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And yet there are some people that have everything and have, you know, more
And
money
still
than
not
they'll
happy.
ever spend, and they are miserable because they don't have connection to people. They don't have friendships. They don't have, you know, the things that a lot of times we'll take for granted because, yeah, we
Exactly.
have those things, you know. But I would trade all of the friendships and connections I have for any material thing that I have, because that, you know, can come and go. Things get old, things break down,
Right.
you know. I would rather have good friendships than, you know, worry about materialistic things.
And
But it's,
those are lifelong. True
yeah,
friendships are lifelong, you
right.
know.
And I mean, I've had situations where, you know, I lived less than I live now, and I've had situations where I lived better than I live now. But when it all boils down to it, like they say, everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time,
Right.
you know. So that doesn't bother me at all. For when you want to make time for you, and we should.
Been putting it on the putting the oxygen mask on all others before yourself. Because remember on the airplanes they say that put an
Yep.
oxygen mask on yourself first, and
Yep.
then yeah, help somebody else. We've all been there, but
Yep.
it's only when you take care of yourself, your own needs first, and you can fully be there for the people who really need you. And that's just exactly what you were saying, sweetheart. That you know, it's once you become more rounded, you give off, in my world, you would give off a better aura.
Yeah.
So you give off better vibes, better, So, which makes other people feel good. So you give it off. It's like spreading a smile. You
Right.
give somebody a smile, and you're thinking, and all of a sudden, they're going to spread it to somebody else. They're going to spread it to somebody else. It's something just that simple.
Yeah, because we don't even know how our actions are influencing other people around us.
We had no
We
idea.
want to think that it's all positive, you know,
Oh yeah,
but
oh yeah. I've gone to stores and I've said something stupid. You know me. It just rattles off my tongue, and I said something stupid, and like other will get home and they'll go, "Ma, I can't believe you said that." And I went, "How much you want to bet?" They went home and told that story, and that whole house got to laughing at me, and I got everybody to laughing. That's
mm,
all I cared about.
yeah,
That's all. You
yeah,
know what I
right,
mean? So
yeah,
that was my way of easing the uncomfortable of me saying whatever it was I was saying. Whether it's 5 minutes, an hour, or simply a shifted state of mind, maybe one of these mantras can help you um, make yourself a priority today. Today, I choose to make time for one thing that brings me joy. Like you were saying, your hobbies, honey. You were
yes,
bringing up your hobbies.
mm,
One thing that brings me joy. Take time for yourself. May I give myself full permission to take care of me first today. I am allowed to say no when something doesn't feel right, and I don't have to give a reason. As you said, no is a sentence.
that's right.
My number one goal for this day is to enjoy it. I love that one right there.
I do too.
Yeah, that says it all. Just enjoy it. Try to make today a little better than yesterday. I say it all the time.
Right. And I think too, I never trusted my own feelings about things. So I would get myself in situations where, oops, let's bring us back up. There we go. But I would get myself in situations where now I would never let myself get in that situation. I would walk away before that situation ever developed.
Right,
But because I didn't trust my feeling, I didn't trust my own instinct to know, hey, you don't belong here, leave,
right,
and I would stay, and then I would be in this situation. And instead of walking away, I would think, oh, but I can fix it. I know it's not good, it's like, but I can make change. I can help this person change and I can make the situation better. No,
right,
you don't. Not if that person doesn't want to change, you
right.
know. But now I'm like, oh, that would be a lot of work and it probably wouldn't help them. And nope, I'm sorry, but yeah, I got to go. I can't do that today.
Right.
But I never trusted myself before. I always thought everybody thought like I did. Everybody's a good person and nobody's out to hurt anybody.
And everybody's trying to help
Yes,
everybody. Yeah.
yes. And now I know better. I know people are evil. It's like they can put on that mask and be everything you think you want until they get you.
And
And
say
then,
all the right words and mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
yep, yep. And that's when you have to know that you're going to trust yourself, but above and beyond anything else. Doesn't matter what situation you get involved with, what person, none of that matters. You're going to have that little sense about you. And if that
Right.
don't feel right, you just walk away. Save yourself the heartache and trouble and all of that instead of getting deep in that situation and then saying, oh my gosh, I made a big mistake. I need to get out of this,
Right.
just, yeah, that's not what I
Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's very
Oh,
hard.
very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard. Because I will tell
Because
you,
they can wrap that web around you so tightly
Yes.
before they pull it, you know?
And
Yeah.
I'll use my mom for an example. She was such a good manipulator that she would actually convince you that you wanted to do what it was she wanted you to do.
Oh,
Even if
okay.
you firmly did not want to do it, she would manipulate you into a way to where eventually you were saying, well, no, that really is a good idea. I really should do that. Okay, I'll do
Right.
that. You know, it's like then when you get away from that situation and you think back about it, it's like, I really was saying no, and they twisted it, and doggone if they didn't convince me to do it,
Uh-huh.
you know? And now I know that people are going to do that. And maybe I'm even more skeptical now that when somebody does something, it's like I don't just automatically think, oh, this is a nice, wonderful person. They would never
Hmm.
do anything to hurt me, you know? Now I'm like, how do you think you're gonna hurt me? Because I'm not gonna
Right.
let you hurt me. Okay. So let's just see
I'm
how
not
we're gonna
gonna say
play
that.
this game.
Uh-huh.
But it's funny how, we just let people because and that to me that was my wanting to be loved.
Right.
I wanted someone to love me. I didn't care what I had to do to feel that like I was being loved, and I never felt that. So everything I did was really a waste because I didn't get the outcome I wanted.
Well,
You know,
because the people on the outside cannot fill that hole. You have to
right,
fill that hole.
right.
And so you're trying to get them to fill that hole. So now you're just reaching more and more and more, but they can't fill that hole there
No,
of the
no,
self love.
no.
That's something we have to, our self love is us making it,
And that's why
building
when
it.
somebody else says, "Oh, but you are a loving person, or you are a nice person, or you're smart, or whatever it might be," if you don't believe it yourself, it's like, why are you blowing smoke? Because I'm not buying what you're selling, okay?
Right.
Because I don't believe it. But once you're able to start to learn yourself and believe in yourself, then you're like, well, I'm glad that you see those things in me, but I'm the one that has to believe it. You
Right.
know, it has to be what I believe. And I think so many of us have some little thing that happened to us in our past, and we don't even realize how much it affects the decisions we make, just how we look at life, and, so many things. And it's just this one little thing that shouldn't even have bothered us.
And it started dominoing and it got
Yeah.
bigger and bigger. And just like you were saying, watch what you say to the little ones,
Hmm.
because that one little sentence can just keep growing in their head, you know. So choose your words wisely.
Yeah. And especially when you're speaking to yourself, because I would say such terrible things to myself because it wasn't even me, it was someone else. And I just believed those terrible things.
Well, after you hear it so many times, you do believe it. If you hear it over and over again, you're thinking, well, shoot, it must be. It must be right, you know? And
Yeah,
then you follow through with it because you're a failure at, let's say, art. You're no good at art. So when you go to do art, it looks like not good. I was going to say the word, but it looks like not good. And of course, now it's preordained, you know, that you're going to, because that's in your head.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too that if you don't have anything to alter the way you're thinking about it, you'll just keep believing, well, that must be true, because
Right.
look how it makes
See
you
the way
feel.
I draw?
Yeah,
They always told me I couldn't and I wasn't an artist. See the way I draw? You know?
yeah. And it's like, have you ever really tried to do it? No,
Right.
because I'm scared to death. I'm not going to be able to do it. And
Right.
therefore, I don't try. You know,
Right.
And I think a lot of us kind of have that, we want people to be happy with us, and
And we don't
we
want to
want
show
to
our
make
flaws.
waves.
We don't
Yeah,
want to show our flaws.
we don't want to be up there, bearing it all. We want to keep some of that stuff to ourselves. But
Come
when
to the
you
Ditsy Puddle, you'll see lots of flaws.
but when I started revealing myself to myself and being honest with
Mhm.
myself and saying, do you really think this? Do you really feel this way? I was amazed at the things that I had bought into.
Bought into. Good
Yeah,
way of putting it.
and it's like, oh my goodness, no wonder. And it was almost like each thing I discovered made me realize, well, that makes sense now. That's exactly why I feel that way about that thing, because of this.
Right.
And I always thought, like, well, whatever those problems are that are causing these things to happen in your life, they are better buried than looking at them.
Right.
Just never mind about that. That's,
Yeah. Just keep going forward.
mm.
But you take your baggage with you. You know, you take
And
it
I
with
think
you.
I think somewhere in us we all know that we can't believe everything we think about and that not all thoughts are true. But after a while, I think you get so beat down by it that you're just like, well, I'm just no good for nothing.
Mhm.
I just have to admit I'm a failure at life.
Yeah.
And that's not, that's why I think we have so many people that have so many problems, because they're not willing to go and try to figure out, why do I think this? Why do I feel this? They just say, oh, just keep leave it. It doesn't affect me. I've heard that so many times. Oh yeah, I had trauma in my childhood, but it doesn't affect me as an adult. You want to bet? You know, it's like everything, good, bad, or indifferent, that happens to us affects us in one way or another. It's
Yes.
just whether or not you accept that,
Hmm.
or you say, I'm not buying into that today.
Right.
But I really think the whole thing about taking care of yourself, if you don't love yourself, you're never going to make the time to take care of yourself.
Right.
You just aren't going to do it.
Yeah. You won't find the time.
And even as simple as doing your skincare, if you can't take 5 minutes to spend on yourself doing your skincare, how do you expect to be able to do anything else to take care of your own self? You can't spare 5 minutes.
But
And
also,
I could not. It was like, what do you mean? I mean,
another thing is, and this is a self care thing, and it to stand there and put the moisturizer on. Whatever it is, stand there in the mirror and put the. I know I've been in this place. I've been there where standing there and staring and looking at the mirror to put on the moisturizer for that long a time, I couldn't do it.
yeah.
That I couldn't look at that person, if that makes sense. I
Hmm.
That person just no, 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 no. So even just to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and do a skin regimen is a
Hmm.
big thing, folks. Is a
Yeah.
really big thing. So
Yeah.
just be proud of yourself. Take the time to
And
do that.
maybe that's what you have to start out, doing something really small, but make that a habit that you devote that 5 minutes to yourself,
Mhm.
and then work on other things. I think too many of us think, oh, I need a checklist. There's 15 things I need to do to improve my life. Okay, you can't do them all at one time.
Baby
You got to do
steps. Baby
little baby
steps.
steps, right? And I think that's why we fail. We give up. We're like, this is going to take me all day just to get the first 5 things done on this list. How can I? No, you do it until it feels natural and
Yeah.
normal in
And
your
then the
life.
classic, that's too hard. It's too hard. There's too many. It's too hard. Well, don't take a big bite. Just take a little bit nibbles out of it. It'll get there. I mean, we didn't get here with one big bite. We got
No,
here with little nibbles. So
right.
it's going to take us little nibbles to get to where we want to be.
And I feel so much better physically, mentally, emotionally because I want to do those things for myself. I
Right.
don't feel like I'm being made to do them or that it's an imposition in my life or it's, gosh, now I've committed myself. I got to do this. I don't feel like that. I'm like,
Right.
oh, I am so proud of myself that I do these things and look at how I feel now because I do them, that I didn't even know I was missing it before. That's, I think, the key is that when you're in that place where you don't like yourself, you don't realize how much you're going to enjoy liking yourself once you get
Yeah.
there, you know?
Back to the comment. It's the norm. It's normal. I
Yeah.
feel like this. I've always felt like this. This is my normal, you
Mm,
know? Yeah. What
yeah.
is your name? Whose name? My name? You know Echo's name, right?
Okay. Annie Marie, her name is Body Illusion. That's probably what it is. She's from the bingo community.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I pop in and out, my love. I pop in and out. We are going to, I'm glad you're here, honey. And I'm glad Echo brought that up. We are going to do a room raid.
No, we're not.
Oh,
Miss
we're
Hurst
not? She's
said
not
she's
going to do it
not
today?
having it today. Yeah.
She's not having it today?
We have
Oh,
to
okay.
go somewhere. So she's not having it today. But
Oh, okay.
normally on every other Sunday when we do this live stream, we will go room rate her um, when she does her 4 o'clock Sunday bingo. So yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I,
I
I,
had
mi-
said
I
that
missed that
earlier,
somewhere along the lines. I
and
apologize.
Norma said it in the chat that not today because she had
Oh,
to
okay.
go somewhere. So, but normally she does the bingo on Sunday afternoon. So
And
that's
right there, she's taking care of herself.
yes,
She's changing, even though, and she should know the
yes.
ones that truly love her will be there when she gets back. We're not going to, be upset with her or anything like
And,
that.
and that's the thing. Nobody is sitting there going, well, she just ruined my day.
No,
What do you mean you're not going to have anywhere for me to go at 4 o'clock, or whatever?
my thought is, and true friends would think, I hope she's okay. And I
Yeah,
hope this, whatever it is, works out. And that's what true friends think. You
that's
know what
right.
I
And
mean?
that's what we really want. We don't really want people who, put those unrealistic expectations on us,
Yeah.
either.
So
Where's
I'm really proud
everyone
of her for
fun?
doing that. I'm really proud of her. That's a big
Yeah,
step because this is her regular time. And so she's, yeah.
yeah. Annie Marie, I'm in Georgia, South Georgia, almost to Florida.
I'm in California.
And she's
I'm
all
in
the way
San
over in
Francisco.
California.
I'm in San Francisco.
You're the first friend I've had from California. I've never,
Really?
yeah, I've never known anybody from California before.
we're kind of an odd lot. We're an
I
odd
always
lot.
thought, it's just like with New York. You think of New York, you think of New York City. You
Yeah.
think of California, you think of Hollywood. You
Yeah.
know, it's like there's so much more than just those things. But that's
Right.
just the way you kind of think about it. Yeah.
Well, let's see. Seventh is in California with me.
Hmm.
Pizza is in Sacramento.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
Wow.
you have
So
you have.
I
I
know
don't know if I brought them over with me, but you're getting more.
yeah.
You're
And
in
Virginia's
Chicago,
in Texas.
Texas here.
Edmond's in Florida.
Regina, couldn't guess it from your name, honey.
And I grew up about 45 minutes from Chicago. Annie Marie is in the UK. Okay.
Okay, then I'm glad I said San Francisco. It's big
Yeah.
enough for it because
Yeah.
I'm not in San Francisco, but it's the big city around me.
Yeah. And when I say Georgia, everybody usually thinks Atlanta
Yes.
or the North Georgia mountains. And I'm just at the tail end right before you get to Florida. I'm way closer to Florida than I am to Atlanta. So my weather
She
is
lives where
more
it's
like
sweaty,
Florida.
folks. It gets sweaty.
Yeah, it's always, yeah. You're like, okay. And then you don't have the ocean close by. At least in Florida, you usually got that ocean breeze going on, and you
Right.
can go to the beach or whatever. So, but we all land wherever we land. Some of us never leave the area we're born and raised in, and then
Hmm.
other people, just want to go somewhere different, and then
And
that
some
becomes
people
fun.
do. Every couple of years, they'll pick a new spot,
Yeah,
or even a new country, you know. I mean, the States, it doesn't seem to be a bigger deal to move to another country because we can stay in the same country and move to another place that's totally different than where there's so many flavors.
yeah, yeah, and a lot of like when this wasn't my hometown, but I've lived here 40 years, and I've lived here longer than I lived in my hometown. My
Mhm.
daughter was born and raised here. My granddaughter's born here. So this is home, even
Yeah.
though it's not where I'm from, but this is my home. And it took me a lot of years to feel like this was home.
Mhm.
I used to really, miss home and think, oh, if I left because I didn't like the cold weather, but I miss all the people. And now I don't even have that many people still there. I don't have any family, I don't think, anymore. Or if I do, they're very distant family. And
Right.
even like girls that I went to church with or girls that I went to high school with, almost all of them have spread out and are in a different part. Not hardly any are in that same area that I grew up
The
in.
community, yeah. Well, and Regina says I'm always in the same state. There's one thing right there. I mean, you can live in Texas and end up with all kinds of different and stay in the same
Yeah,
state.
Texas is huge state.
Yes,
Well, and my
yes. And there's
daughter,
so many. I mean, you can go from Austin to Houston, and they're two totally different cities.
mhm,
Totally different city. And then Dallas is different. So yeah.
yeah. Well, and it I don't know why it is, but you hear, oh, they're from Texas. Oh, well, so and so, and then you realize how huge Texas is. It's like, yeah, no, you probably don't. It's too big of a state or whatever.
Right.
But when my daughter was growing up here, she hated it. And she was like, I don't care where I live. I'm not living in Georgia. And then she meets and marries someone from here who is like, well, but this is where I live. It's like, I don't necessarily want to move, but I'll move if you want to move. And then she changed her whole, you know, thought process about it. Like, well, I guess I'm staying here in Georgia. Then she has her daughter, and she's kind of like, well, this is her home now. So
Oh, well,
it's
and now she's going to school. So
yeah.
she's putting in her roots,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So after a while, we get transplanted to somewhere new, but then that becomes your home because of the family that you have and then of the people that you meet there and everything. So I love Georgia, especially during the winter months when people are having snowstorms and things like that. I thoroughly love Georgia. Now, in the summertime, when I was heavier, I hated the summer because I was
Mhm.
like always hot and always uncomfortable. Now, not so much. So, it's okay
Yeah.
now. But then again, too, I think I had this fantasy that when I moved to a different state, life would be totally different because
Right.
of being in a different state. And that's when I had to learn that, day to day life, taking care of yourself, going to work, eating meals, basically the same no matter where you live. Your scenery might be a little different, but the basic daily things are about the same. And that's what I guess I thought would change, you know.
Well, you can change, you can move, and you can change your scenery. But you know what? You take yourself with you.
Exactly.
You take yourself
Exactly.
with you.
Yeah, and you're still
So
gonna
unless
have
you
to have,
change you, it doesn't matter what the scenery is.
and you're still gonna have a job of some sort.
Yep.
And this is,
You're still
you
gonna
know,
need to eat. You're still gonna need a roof. You're still gonna need, yeah.
I used to always think, oh, when I get a different job, it'll be better. And then I had the same problems on every job, no matter what it was. I didn't get along well with my coworkers because I was not getting along well with myself. So it was like I didn't like them either.
Right.
And it was like I would all the time be like, why do they got to be like they are? And why do they got to do what they do? And all of them were doing the same thing. Like I was the odd person out.
Hmm.
But yet I didn't see that. I saw that they all had a problem
Right.
instead of seeing that I had a problem.
And just letting them live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
it's like now, like my daughter being a school teacher, you have layers that you deal with. She has the superintendent, the board of education, then she has her administration in her school, then she has her actual co-workers, and then she has the children.
Hmm.
Oh, and then they have the support staff, and they also have like the elective teachers they have to deal with. So it's like varying levels that you have to deal with. Well, she'll like everything but one part of that. And I'm like, no matter where you go, if you stay in education, you're going to have to deal with that.
Even if she's not in education. Echo,
Well,
you were at Walmart.
I picked out
Walmart had
that
the,
one.
you
Yeah.
had the
But what
supervisors, and
I'm
then you
thinking
had the
is,
floor managers, and then you had the assistant managers, and then you had the man, and then you had corporate yelling at everybody. You know what I mean?
but it's real easy to think, oh, well, it's the job I have, or the neighborhood I live in, or the school I go to, or those things are going to be there no matter where you go or what you do. You're going to have things you got to learn how to deal with. And
Hmm.
to me, it's a lot easier to learn how to deal with those things. And like you said, live and let people live and go on about your business instead of, gosh, I want them to do it different. I want them to change. And I have this
Or
new,
why aren't they?
yeah,
Why aren't they doing that? Don't they
and
see how silly that is?
my daughter will complain about people and she'll say, Mom, they have no common sense. It's like, are they an adult or are they a kid? It's like I deal with kids all day long. I'm an adult. I would have handled this situation like this, but no, they choose to handle it like they're a kid. And I'm like, they're working within the framework of what they have experienced and what
Right.
life is for them.
Their knowledge.
And you cannot change that. And you can let it upset you and you get upset about, or you can say, oh, well, that's how they are and move on. And now I'm trying to teach her that not everything that happens with other people has to affect you.
Ooh, ooh, that's a hard one. Yeah.
Yeah. And also how to remain neutral when you work with a group of people and this one's got a problem with this one and they both talk to you. So you're in the middle, okay?
Uh-huh.
You don't go and tell this one what that one said or vice versa. And you don't really express your opinion to either one of them. You just say,
No,
okay,
you don't.
you kind of be supportive, let them unload on you, but you don't really give your opinion.
Yeah. Or the classic. So what do you think?
Yeah.
Honey, I'm just here to listen. I'm
This is
just here to listen.
this is not my
I'm
and
just
and
here to
but
listen.
she's finding out now that she's in somewhat of a position of management when her other teachers are having a problem. She's the head of that department. They each call her saying their side because there again, we all want to be right, we all want to be heard, and we all
That's it
want
right
people
there.
to
That's
agree
what
with
she
us.
needs to learn right there is they need to be heard. They don't
Yeah,
care if you solve the problem. They
nope.
just want you to hear it. So if you just sit back and just let them rant and rave or whatever it is, all of a sudden it's calmer because they got it
And
out.
and
You heard them.
she's learning to say this to him. Well, did you talk to Susie over there about this issue? Well,
Uh-huh.
no, I come to tell you about it. Well, maybe you and Susie need to sit down and talk about it.
Uh-huh.
And she doesn't offer to like, let's get you two together and have a
Right, mediate
conversation
or
between the three
anything.
of us. No, 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 no. Just maybe you and that person need to talk about it. And
Well,
that,
maybe she doesn't know this
yeah,
is you're upset, you know?
yeah. Maybe they don't even realize what they said upset you, you know. No, honey, there's no bingo today. Miss Norma Kay had something come up. So we're not doing, she's not having the bingo at 4 o'clock today. But yeah, you can be involved and supportive and still not have to give an opinion
Yeah,
and take sides. And I don't think anybody should ever make you feel like you got to take sides,
yeah.
you know. And my daughter sometimes will say, "Well, that person hasn't done anything to me. I don't have any bone to pick with them. But
Hmm.
yet so and so does. Well, then so and so needs to deal with that, not you,
Right.
you know." And I would have been like, "Oh, let me talk to that person for you." It's like, I'll solve this problem.
Well, and then I've had associates come to me and they're like, "Brr, brr, brr, brr. Well, the so and 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 so," and I'm like, okay, and I'll listen to them and I'll say, okay, now is this really a battle you want to fight? I mean, is this really that important of a battle you want to fight? And they step back, and once I listen to them, and they've gotten it off their chest, they look and they're going, "Well, no, not really." Yeah, see, it got in your head, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Now,
Yeah.
is this really a fight you want to? Is this the battle you want to put all your effort into? You know?
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh well, no, I just wanted you to know. Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, and sometimes it just to have somebody let you get it out makes all the difference in the world, you
thank you,
know,
Stephanie. That was it.
because you might not even have thought about it all the way through. You're just
Right,
reacting, you know.
right.
This happened,
Yeah,
and
I
then when
gotta
you
tell him.
start,
I gotta tell him. I gotta
yeah,
tell him.
then when you start telling it, you're like, oh, wait a minute, okay, yeah,
Yeah, that balloon starts deflating.
yeah,
It starts deflating, and it's like,
hmm,
okay, now since you and I'll let him say it. I'll sit there and listen to him rant and rave, and I'm going, now is this the battle you really want to fight? Is
yeah,
this it? And they're like, well, no, I just wanted to tell you, and they walk away with that comment after yelling. They'll go, well, no, I just wanted you to know. Oh,
and
okay. Well,
at
thank you.
Walmart.
Thanks for sharing.
At Walmart, a lot of the times people would have a problem with something we had to do that wasn't coming. It wasn't something I wanted them to do. It was something that was coming above me. And I didn't have no choice in the matter. I just had to get it done.
Yeah,
And,
you're just the
I would agree
messenger.
with them. I would be like, I agree. I think it's silly that we're going to do this. But you know what? I need my job. So we fixing to do this. And it's like, I would never go to my management and say, this is silly. I don't think we should do this. But I
Right.
would share with them, okay, I know how you're feeling about this. I agree with you. But there's nothing we can do. We're going to
I'll
do. And
even start conversations that way. You'll never believe what corporate is making us do now.
exactly. So
and
you're
then
on
and then it
their
kind of cushions
side.
the blow a little bit, and they're going, "Here we go. Okay, what do we have to do before we can go home?"
I had a manager one time, and there was two of us in the same position, and our direct supervisor didn't know either one of us really.
Hmm.
And we had a conflict, and both of us had went and talked to him about it. And when he told me, what he was going to do to resolve this issue, I was like, you don't even know me, and yet you're believing. And he said, I'm not believing you. I'm not believing her. I don't know either one of y'all, but I'm going to make it to where you don't have to do this together. Therefore, you won't have a problem with each other. And really, that was a great solution. However, I wanted to be right. I wanted
Right,
him to take my side of it. I didn't
right.
want him to be neutral. Why are you being neutral about this?
Haven't I
And,
stressed it enough? You want me to tell you the story again?
and it's like over the years, and let me back up. This guy was born the year I graduated high school. So
Okay.
I was old enough to be his mother, and yet
Uh-huh.
he was my big boss. Okay. Over the years, once he got to know me, I think he realized, that wasn't my fault. But he didn't know me to know. And when you don't know somebody and you don't know their work history and their ethics and, all of that, you can't really take sides. You have to
Right.
be neutral. And part of being a good boss
Well,
is
they shouldn't take sides anyway, even if they do
no,
know you.
right.
Yeah.
They should be neutral. But I so wanted him to, believe me. Don't believe her.
Yeah. Like I said, my boss, my last boss, he was the same age as other. Actually, I think he was 2 years younger. So, he would say, okay, Lucy, blah, 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 right? He would tell me what I need to do. And I would look at him and go, now, just remember, I'm the same age as your mama. You're going to talk to your mama that way. And he
Yeah.
would kind of look at me like, what? And I'm like, would you talk to your mother that way? Yeah, he never raised his voice or anything, but I was just like, I was always giving him a hard time. And it's hard when they're younger in the beginning.
Well, and as much
In the
as
beginning.
as much as I didn't like having a younger boss, I never thought that he might not like having older people under him, you
Yeah.
know, because we were definitely from two different generations and two
Mhm.
different, ways of thinking about things.
Ways of thinking. Yeah.
And it was he was the one boss that I never minded doing, interviews for him. And, I would go above and beyond the things that really weren't even my job, so to speak. They were definitely his job, but he didn't like doing them. I enjoyed doing them, so I didn't have a problem with it. And
Oh,
he knew
yeah.
how to delegate work. Then I worked with other managers who they won't let you touch a pen, yet alone do anything for them, and they're over here overwhelmed and stressed out and having a hard time, and you're like,
And then
oh,
they bark orders.
yeah,
The bark orders instead of like, okay, I know this is goofy, but can we get this done? Or, okay, there's a deadline on this. I know I'm throwing
hmm,
it at you, but it needs to be done by. And that I understand. I
yeah,
know, I know you're getting ready to go, but there's a deadline on this. Can we get it done real quick? That I can handle. You know.
I'm the kind of person that you tell me the job, what it is, the outcome is you're looking for. I'll figure out how to get us there.
Hmm.
I don't like someone who tells me the job and first I want you to do this, and then I want you to do this, and then I'm like, okay, well, that's stupid. I should, it's like, I know how to do it. I've done this before. This is how I'll do it. And them thinking they can micromanage you and, if you want it done like that, go do it yourself. It's like, that's not how I do it.
Yeah. Well, I would look at him and go, okay, 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 because I want to get from A to Z. Okay,
Yeah.
so you tell me what you want to see. Okay, so I'll make sure that during my A to Z of the way I'm going to do it, that
Hmm.
particular thing is set. So when you come by, you will see that set. You will see. I will make those steps in the way I do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And
Because
I
But
always,
my associates, I always did that. What I need from you is for this to look like this.
yeah,
You've done this long enough. I know you know how to get it there. I need it to look like this when you're done, and it's a 3-hour project. See you
mhm,
later. And
yeah.
that's the way I did them always. And they loved me because I didn't tell them, okay, now first you pull
You
out
didn't
the pencil,
micromanage
and then
me.
you pull out the
Yeah,
paper, and then you pull out the.
yeah. And that's why I loved working the night shift. We had a lot more work to do on the night shift, but you had more leeway to do it how it worked for you and for your people and,
They just
whatever.
wanted it done,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. And I had one manager who every time he thought someone else had done something, he would want it redone by me. But if he said, who did such and such? And if I said, I took care of that, oh, okay, good, he'd move on. But if I said, oh, Sally did that, "Oh, well, Sally didn't do too good of a job. I need you to go back behind Sally." And I was like, every freaking person, no matter what, nobody can do it good enough for him, you know?
Right.
And so the one day I was just like frustrated and I was like, oh, I'm going to lie. I'm going to tell you I did it.
Well,
Oh,
you
but
didn't
good
tell him.
job.
You didn't tell him you did it. You said you took care of it. That
Well,
doesn't mean
yeah,
you did it. That
yeah.
means you made
And you're
sure it
right.
was
I
done
did. I
correctly.
said I took care of that. Yes, you're
Yeah.
right. I didn't say I physically did it. I just
Uh-huh.
said I took care of it. And
Uh-huh.
after that, anytime he would ask me anything, I took care of that. It's done. Don't worry about it. It's good. No problem. But it took me forever to figure that out.
Right.
That was really against me. He was wanting to make me have to go back and do it, you know.
Right.
And by me just saying, "Hey, it's done. Don't worry about it." Oh, okay.
Well, he wanted a quality control,
Yeah,
I think is what
yeah.
it was. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
used to train those girls, you know. These are the things he's going to look for. This is it's like you need to do it just like I'm telling you to do it, and then we'll be good. And then nobody has
Hmm.
to go back and, redo or whatever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When the boss walks, he first thing he'll look at is this, and then he'll look at it that. So you
Mhm.
make sure these are dialed in perfect, and
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Oh yeah.
It's like this is what they're looking for. And then too, because we knew when day shift came in, day shift was going to walk with the night manager, and he didn't want no surprises. He wanted everything so he would get a good mark and he would get out of there
Oh, well,
and
that's what
not
it's all
have to.
about. It's all
Yeah.
about making them look good. So they look good, so they look good, so they look good. Yeah.
And
That's all what it's all about.
the one lady manager I had that micromanaged me so bad, she went and was complaining to my previous manager because at Walmart they're real good about nobody getting comfortable. So you might be over a certain area for like 3 months and then they move everybody, you know. So
Okay.
you're constantly getting new managers and the managers are getting new people.
Okay, I see
Um,
that. I
yeah.
see that.
So
I'm
she's in
sure it
there.
helps on the shrink. I'm sure it helps on the shrink
Yeah,
a lot.
that too. But so she's in there complaining to the manager I had just worked with, this, that, and the other. And they were like, "Who are you talking about?" And they're like, "Echo." Echo? No, no. Mm-mm. Echo's not like that. Echo does this. Echo does that. You can even get
Right.
Echo to call customers and smooth things over. And get Echo to do an interview for you. And you can get Echo to. And she's like, I must not be working with this, she must have changed because that's not how she does for me.
Hmm.
And then luckily they came back to me and was like, you having trouble with her? And I'm like, yeah, I am. She don't think I know how to do anything. And everything I start to do, she wants to holler at me, oh no, you should be doing it this way and you should do that. And, they're like, yeah, well, she was definitely complaining about you. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I think with her, it was definitely an age thing because she wanted to be superior. And even though she was older than me, she was still just just a person. I didn't look at her like, "Ooh, you're the big boss." I mean, I got along great with the big boss of the store, so I didn't.
Okay. Think about this for just a minute, because we were talking about this. Now, this lady was coming to you because she wanted it done the way she understood, right? Um, it clicked in my head when you said that. Do you think that lady was looking through the eyes of Echo doing Allison's laundry?
Was I looking at it like that?
No, was
Or
this
the
woman
lady?
looking at
Oh,
what
oh,
you were
oh.
doing through Echo's eyes of Allison's laundry? That it really didn't, but she had that in her head. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
If that makes does that make
That
sense what I'm
she
saying?
was the boss and she needed to say how I should do it. And because
Right.
I wasn't doing it that way, I was wrong.
Her way. Yeah.
Yeah, her way.
And it really truly didn't matter. But she
Mm,
wanted to, yeah.
yeah. But she did get a little better after their conversation because then she started, asking other people and realizing that she wasn't utilizing me to do the most to help her in her
Right.
job, and that somebody else could do the things that she was wanting me to do that I really didn't want to do anyway. You know, but I had coworkers that every time we got a new piece of equipment, I would be right there when they were installing it, and I would ask questions. What does that do? And how do you fix it if that gets stuck? And what, and nobody else would. They would all be off doing something else. Well, then the first time,
Oh, good. Then I don't have to worry about that register. It's they're fixing it. Yeah.
and then the first time something would tear up or go wrong, I was like, oh, but I think if we do this, it'll. Or even when we had to call stuff in to be repaired, the one repair company, they would never come out. They wanted to have you troubleshoot the problem
Right.
and then just send you a new register or a new debit machine or whatever.
Right.
And so it was always, okay, go back to it, do this, turn that, and I would always write down exactly what they said. And then I would go and do those steps. And 9 times out of 10, I could get it fixed.
Right.
Because it was something like in the programming or whatever. But I would always, do that kind of stuff. And I had my same coworkers that got paid the same as I got paid. I'd come into work and they'd say, so-and-so is broke. It's been down all day long. And I'm like, why didn't they fix it? Did they call it in? Did they try to troubleshoot it? Nothing would have been done with it,
Right.
And I go over there in like 10 minutes, I got it back up and going.
Well, another thing is you work nights. There was no troubleshooting to call. You were at night. If it broke down, you were just done. But these day people, those offices were still open.
And they wouldn't even bother to call it in because they knew, if you're the one that calls it in, they're going to want you to troubleshoot it. So let's not even call it in because then we had one of those.
I don't have 20 minutes, half an hour to sit on the phone with them. Yeah.
We had one of those Coinstar machines that you can just dump the change in and it counts it and all of that. Well, if you got coins that are sticky or you even just have anything in there that's not a coin, it's going to jam it up.
Right.
When you opened up the machine, there was actually a white telephone inside the machine.
Oh, okay.
You would pick that up and get your dial tone, and then you could talk to somebody at Coinstar, and they would run a diagnostic through the computer on their end and be able to tell you exactly which part had something jammed or needed to be cleaned or whatever. And the customer, it would not give them a ticket for how much money they'd already put in there when it stopped in the middle of their doing it. So half their money's in there, half their money's out, and they just want their money,
Yeah.
And
now you got a disgruntled customer.
Right.
Because they're like, it took my money. It took my money.
Yeah. And it's like, and I don't know how much money you had because it's not going to tell us until this jam is out and it can continue on. So I'd be in there, messing with it and everything. And it might take me, 10, 15 minutes, but I usually could get it fixed. My coworkers would be like, you done with your break? I'm like, my break? Yeah, you've been messing around for 15 minutes on this machine. I thought you took your break. No, I didn't take a break. I was working with the customer breathing down my neck and the person on the phone telling me what to do. So no, I didn't have my break yet. I was so glad to get off of.
Oh yeah, you would. I couldn't see you being able to walk away from that machine with that customer there. Oh, they would have. Ooh, no. That's my money.
As soon as there was that position on nights, I was like, hey, I'm by myself. I don't have any responsibilities in the daytime. I can work night shift and I'll be by myself. I still had people to deal with, but I didn't have those coworkers like, why do you get to do that? Why are you in here on the phone? Why are you sitting down? Why are you? It's like,
and no corporate calls. And no corporate calls, no corporate visits, nobody walk in the store.
It was great. And I made so many friends with the stalkers, because they still had to come go through the line to get their lunch or snacks or whatever, So I could stay right in my section and I saw everybody come through. I didn't
Right.
have to go anywhere, and I knew everybody. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was hard for me to wrap my head around. Oh, you no longer work. What? That's what I do. What do you mean? I no longer work. It's like, oh, it was so hard for me. And I had plenty of other things take me out, but I always got better and was able to go back.
Mm-hmm.
I never had anything to where the doctor was saying, you ain't going back.
Mm-hmm.
And my job is saying, you ain't coming back. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
going, yeah, I'm proving y'all wrong. I'm coming back. It's like, oh, please, you won't let me come back, please. I would have volunteered. If they would have said, you can just come and volunteer, I would have came and volunteered. You know, I missed it so bad. I had dedicated so much time. Uh-oh. Oh, there you are.
Am
But
I
I
coming
had
back in?
dedicated, yeah, you're back. I had
Yeah.
dedicated so much time to that store. I just couldn't imagine not being part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I go in there and it's like, well, when I first went in there after I hadn't been there for a couple of years, I mean, I saw so many things wrong, and I was like, oh my goodness, do you see what they're doing? Do you see what they have there? Now I go in there and I'm just like, yeah, I don't even like this store anymore. I like the one over here better. And that used to be
Right.
my store. It was the best.
Right.
I would not go to any other Walmart. I would go to my store.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing, and I'm sure with Home Depot too, people move from store to store, from store to
Oh
store.
yeah, you're always jumping around. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was in the same store my entire 17 and a half years. And I had
Wow.
so many people that would say, well, at my store, we used to do whatever. And I would always be thinking in my head, but you ain't at your store. You're at my store. And this is
Right.
the way we do this. So it
Yeah,
was
because I
hard.
worked with Home Depot for 13 years and I worked 17 stores.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. They were always moving me around. Always moving me around. But I got to know a lot of people. And then when you move around, you go to another store and it's like that person from this store way over here is now at this store. So you're never really among strangers,
Oh,
because
yeah.
they're always traveling. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we twice in those 17 years, both within like the first 10 years, I got asked to go into management where I would have to travel and they could put me at any store anywhere. And I
Mhm.
had Allison and I was like, I can't uproot my family. And I'm not, I have other responsibilities other than just my job.
Right.
And so both times I turned it down. And then when I was finally done raising her and I could have done it, I liked being in my night job. I didn't want to, go
Right.
any further. I was like, no, this is good. And then I got hurt. And then it was like, okay, you're done. So I missed out on that opportunity, but I just don't know how I could have managed everything I needed to do and have to travel,
Right.
you know. And that, I mean, it was nothing for them to just, somebody come in one day and find out, oh, guess what? You're moving to different state, different.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a lot of people who didn't move their families because they knew maybe they'd be there 6 months, and then be moved somewhere else. And by the time you sell a house and buy a house and change schools and all that. And so if it was within maybe 3 or 4 hours away, they would just commute.
Yeah.
You know?
I had a store manager and he came from Reno, Nevada, and he came up and he was there for maybe 9 months and he didn't move his family. He
Mhm.
just was there. And he says, when I'm done doing this training and whatever, he says, I'm just going to go back. But he was the store manager. So
Yeah.
it was him. He had to do that step to get to the step he wanted.
Yeah.
And so he says, okay, it's just,
Yeah.
But he was one of the best managers ever. I went, don't leave, don't leave. But maybe it's because he wasn't going to stay that he
Yeah.
had that happy-go-lucky kind of attitude. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I had some really good store managers and then I had some really rotten ones. But
Yeah,
I mean, they definitely, we changed store managers a lot. And then, of course, Walmart was good about changing the, um, between the associate and the store manager, the different levels in between, they would change them
yeah.
and the jobs would change. And
The
then,
titles.
yeah. And so certain people that had had one position, now there is no, that position doesn't exist. It's now this position, and oh, they didn't get that job. So now they have to drop back down to be an associate or whatever,
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so those kind of people left a lot too because they could go to a different store and maybe keep similar of what they had or move
Right.
up, whereas they would have had to get knocked down if they stayed at our store. And so we always had, and I guess because we're right here between Georgia and Florida, we had a lot of people transferring, back and forth and things like that. And that's where I learned don't ever get too comfortable because things can change like that, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I used to be like, oh, it's too good. If something's going to happen. And people would be like, why are you a pessimist? Why are you always saying something's going to happen? And I'm like, because we've had it good for a month. It's going to change.
Right. This is the calm before the storm.
Yeah. And it usually did. It usually did. But,
Yeah.
you know,
But
you,
that's what I always thought about. I'm sure you did the same thing when you had a bad store manager. You're like, that's okay. They're not going to be here that long. I'll
yeah.
get through it. I'll get through it, and
I
we'll get
would
a
be
good one
like,
again.
I'll give this one 6 months.
You see?
I
Yeah.
think 6 months, and sometimes it was 3 months and they were gone. But most of the time, I could tell that first meeting they would have with all the store associates, and kind of tell us their philosophy and what kind of manager they were. I mean, I'd sit there and I'd listen. I'd be like, "Yep, this one ain't gonna work out. No,
Right.
this ain't gonna happen." Because then, too, I knew like our district managers. And it's almost like I could tell these personality class. I was like, oh, they are not going to get along at all. This is going to be
Right.
bad. But then we had a lot of drama, a lot of like a soap opera.
Oh yeah.
People being
We had a lot. We had a lot of marital issues. Can I put it that way?
yeah.
In our stores,
Hmm.
a lot of it. Yeah. So and so was married, but they'd be with so and so would be with.
Well, and we had, depending upon what position you were in, whether or not you could date a different position. And it would always be
Yeah.
people who were not supposed to be together,
Oh, of course not.
you know.
Yeah.
And then it's like you walk into the cooler and there they are. And you're like, huh, when did y'all start working in the dairy department stocking milk? It's like,
Right.
and then now you're their best friend because they don't want you going telling anybody you caught them in the cooler, and things like that. I knew so much dirt on so many people. It was like, and here, I'm a longtime married person and I'm like horrified that, how dumb are you you're going to get caught. You're going to lose everything. It's going to cost you your marriage and all this. And it's like, they didn't care. They just did whatever.
Right.
Some of them had codes. We'd call out on the radio if their wife showed up to shop in the store. Because who knows where they would be, what they would be doing.
Right.
And here they'd come. Quick, like a bunny, jump out here. And, oh, hi, honey, how you doing? Yeah, you getting some groceries? Okay, good. And it's like, what?
Almost sounds like the bar system in the
Yeah, I
bars.
can imagine that bar.
Is my husband there? And you'd say, I don't know. Is Tommy here? And Tommy's going,
Well, we even had, they were not upper management. One was a stalker, the girl was a stalker, and the guy was like the assistant manager over the grocery. So he was
Okay.
supervising her. They leave one day at lunch, and this is when I worked overnight. So lunch was 2 o'clock in the morning.
Hmm.
Don't know where they went, what they did. Anyway, 6 o'clock in the morning, neither one of them have come back.
Uh-oh.
And so now the overnight manager is hunting that grocery manager. Nobody even knows that the girl is missing because her direct supervisor's with her, right?
Right.
So the only person that anybody's looking for is the guy.
Right.
And so the overnight manager comes up front, Echo, when everybody went to lunch, did so and so come through the line? Do you know if they left for lunch or if they stayed here? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember. It all comes
Right.
and runs together. I'm not really sure. I don't know if that was break time I saw them or that was lunch time I saw them, but I'm not sure. And here they come back in like nothing ever happened. Like,
Oh, yeah.
since when do you take a 4-hour lunch? And I was like, they've been looking for you. You best get busy.
Yeah.
You're gonna know you ain't been here all night. But I just couldn't believe how they would do things like that. Like no regard for their job or their family or anything. Just
Yeah. Yeah.
we had a cashier that actually got pregnant by one of our store managers.
Oh, my.
Yeah. That was
Okay.
he lost his job in a heartbeat because everybody had already spotted them together, knew they were messing around, and then next thing you know, here she comes with the little baby bump.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
It's like, yeah, not good. Can't do things like that. Have a little self-respect that you wouldn't,
Yeah, that's it.
do that.
That's it.
But and I don't even blame her as much as I blame him because it's more like she's a young girl, he's an older guy, he's the one that's married with a family, he should know better. you know I mean, she still shouldn't have been messing around unprotected, but
Yeah, it takes
still.
two to tango, honey.
Yeah, but still, you know what I'm saying, he
Right.
should have been more responsible.
Yeah.
But no, he
Not
was
everybody has the scruples you do, honey.
no, I
Not
know.
everybody.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a goody two shoes, and I don't play those kind of games. But but it was
Oh,
definitely
listen to you. Mm-mm-mm.
it was a soap opera. It definitely was. It definitely.
Can
And
you guys see me on the screen?
uh-huh. Yeah.
Since I came back, my screen is completely black.
Really?
Yeah, I'm talking to my little camera, so I'm hoping I don't have a boogie or anything.
No, you look fine. You look
Oh,
fine.
okay.
But funny you say that about it being black because I was working on a video earlier, and on the bottom of Canva I could see the video, but on the middle it was black.
Oh, okay.
I was like,
That's odd.
I hope it's not recording black. I hope it is recording the part I wanted to record.
Right?
It wouldn't show it to me. The sound was going, but the screen was totally black.
Yeah. I hate for you to go through all that work and then nothing.
Oh,
Nope.
let me tell you
Nothing.
what happened to my Suno account.
Uh-oh.
And I've emailed Suno and I'm still waiting to hear back. But I went to sign into my account the other day and it had trouble logging me in.
Okay.
And I normally go in through Google and it'll pop up living my best life. And I click on that and go right to it. No, acted like I didn't have an account. So it says try another way. So I say, well, I can go through Facebook. Try that. I've never logged into Suno off of Facebook, but it was one of the options, right? So
Okay.
I try to log in through Facebook. some way or another, it says my account's been deleted.
What?
Yeah. So I have no account right now. And when I try to log in under Living My Best Life, it says support needed. So I got the support number or email, and you have to
Uh-huh.
email them. There's no number to call them.
Of
And
course not.
so I emailed them, and I'm waiting now. But so I cannot get into Suno. I can't get into my account. I can't do anything in Suno. But if you go in like as a guest and you look for my account
Mhm.
is there. So I don't know what's going on with it.
And I'm sure they'll keep taking your money.
Yeah. Well,
For-
and that's the thing. I can create a new account because I have all my songs, you know.
uh-huh.
So, I mean, I can create a new account, but I don't want to be charged twice. And I don't want to have credits sitting there not being used and I start a new account.
But it's the
So,
principle of the thing. That's your
yeah.
account.
So
That's
I'm
more the
like, no,
principle.
I want my account back. And
Thank you. There
I
you
don't
go.
know what they did in the login process because I've never had that problem.
Right.
I've always just went to Suno login, hit sign in, hit Google, living my best life, boom, pops up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the problem is, but I tried and I tried and I tried, and I'm like, okay. Now the only other way it would let me, because even putting in my email address, it didn't have it, couldn't find it. And the only other thing is it wanted to put my phone number, but I changed phones and changed my phone number. And
Okay.
I'm sure that Suno account is on my old phone number.
Okay.
And if they need to call me or send me a text message to let me back in, I can't get that because I don't have that phone number anymore.
Yeah, but you should also have your email, so you can have it sent to your email.
But yeah, but it doesn't recognize my email. So
That is
when
so
I
bizarre.
emailed them, I mean, I put everything. Here's my name, my birth date, my old phone number. Here's my new phone number. Here's my email address. Here's the name on the account. I put everything in there. So we'll see if and then I even went on Google asking, did anybody else have this trouble getting back into their Suno and everything? And one person was like, yeah, I couldn't sign into mine. And I emailed them and it's been 3 weeks and I haven't heard anything. And I'm like, 3
Uh-oh.
weeks? So now what I'm thinking is I think I have it set up to be taken out of my PayPal. So I think I need to go to my PayPal and cancel the payment so that they don't get the money and then just
Yeah.
take it.
If you don't have an account,
Yeah.
yeah. Or access, I should say.
I'm like, how can I not have an account? And where did my account go?
Right.
And I mean, it makes me feel like somebody went in there and took my account and
Mm-hmm.
changed something, but who would want my account? I just don't get it. I was like, really? I can't get into Suno?
But aren't they saying that the count doesn't exist?
Yeah.
Or they okay. So the account doesn't exist,
Mm-hmm.
but if you go in as a guest, you can see that account. So the account does exist.
Does exist.
So
But
there's
not under any of my information,
that's so weird.
And it is weird. And even on the looking at it as a guest, there's nothing on there, like that says edit or, anything
Right.
like that. So it's like, I don't know how somebody would have got my information and
Right.
changed my information.
Well, and even if the system is questioning who you are, usually they have a code like, okay, let's prove that you're you. Let me email you a code,
Yeah.
or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
And this particular laptop, it, even like when I do the free spin wheel,
mhm.
I'm not even connected or downloaded or nothing with that. I just type in free spinning wheel. It pulls up. I click on the one that I use, and there's my spinning wheel with my names on it.
Oh, okay.
So it's like that's how my Suno is. That's how my
Right.
Canva is. I don't have to like download the account, but when I sign into that particular thing, my information is there.
Right.
So I'm like, how does it not recognize me now? It's like doesn't make any sense. And I was like, what has changed in the last, because it had been maybe 2 weeks since I'd been in there. So I'm like, what, nothing has changed in 2 weeks' time that should have messed it up.
Right.
Not for them to say there, no
It's
account
completely
exists.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
And
That's so weird. Yeah.
I mean,
Keep us
that's
up
like,
on that, honey. Yeah.
yeah.
Because if
Well,
you're having that problem, there's other people out there that's having that problem. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
And I'm going to go in here today and I'm going to try again and see if I can see it as a guest.
Yes,
Because
that is weird.
if something that I did deleted it, then I shouldn't be able to see it as a guest either.
Right.
So, I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. It's like I did it how I always do it, using the same email address, the same um, going through
Access.
Google, using my Google account. Haven't changed my Google account. I haven't done anything, that should have affected it. And it was like I was in a hurry. Like I was excited. I was like, oh, I got to get in here and do this.
Hmm.
No.
And then
Like,
no place
okay.
to go, huh?
It's like, okay, I don't want to write a song right now. It's fine. And I even told myself, just write it down what you were thinking. And then when you get back in there, you can do it, you know.
Speaking of songs, um, are you and Gail going to do another Suno thing?
Gail had a meetup in Texas
Uh huh.
the end of March.
Okay.
So we didn't do one then. And then I think she's at the 10 Killer meetup, possibly, but that might have been last week. I don't know. I know she just sent me a song that somebody wrote that she wanted me to make sure I put in the playlist.
Okay.
So I need to get back in touch with her and find out.
Yeah,
But
because it just seems like I thought you were going to do it monthly, but that doesn't make it
well,
so. And
yeah,
then, but I know how life
I
does this.
wanted to continue doing it monthly, but I don't know if she wants to do it monthly or not. Because
Right.
we had originally said since she had gotten paid StreamYard and I could stream, she could set it up and do it on her channel, but I could stream to mine and then I could do it on mine and she could stream to hers, that we were going to take turns and do it like that every other time.
Right.
So I don't know. I needed, then again, I was sick too, so I really didn't touch base with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another thing. I would like to do that at least once a month because people are still writing songs. Star did one in there. You did one. I've done a couple. Blackberry Rock Homestead's done. That was the one she just sent me. I think Gail did a different one. So I mean, people are still doing the songs. So
Right.
and I need to get better at advertising about it. I need to make some shorts and play them about it. But
Well, but you need a date. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it will be played on blah, blah, blah day, and come there. But also with so much gap in between, it seems like the songs would really pile up.
Yeah. Miss Edna says, I have an issue with people with no scruples, people that step out of marriage. I'm with you, Echo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would have never done something like that, when I was married. But, people are weird. There's a lot of people that don't ever even get married. I had a really, really good girlfriend, and she came one day. This is back when I worked in the convenience store. And she came and told me that, her and her man were splitting up. And I was like, oh, gosh, a divorce. And she's like, no, we weren't married. I'm like, really? I mean, they were together like 15 years, had kids together and everything. And I was just like, oh, I just assumed you were married.
Mhm.
people do whatever people want to do. They're, you know.
Yeah. Well, the my last relationship, it was 28 years. 28 years, and we were never married. Uh, he's never been married. He's not going to be married. So
Oh,
I knew that walking into it, and I went, I've been married. I didn't like it, so it works out well.
it works out good for you.
Yeah.
I think it's a personal decision. You know, and like Allison said, I know you're anti-marriage. You know, I'm anti-bad marriage. I'm not
Yeah.
anti-marriage. I think
Yeah.
marriage is a beautiful thing if you go into it in the right frame of mind and you know how to protect yourself. Then marriage is wonderful. My divorce taught me that you can't count on people. You
Yeah.
know, people change, things change,
Yeah.
and
Well, yeah.
you got to be ready for that. You got to
Yeah.
know that could happen. Instead of living in a fairy tale like I was, like happily ever after. Yeah, well, you know. So as
Well, I
long as
didn't like
you
what I
know,
turned into. When I got married, I just turned into this. Oh my gosh, the Wicked Witch of the West. Just horrible. Just absolutely horrible. And I was like, I don't know what happened here. This is not good. This is not me. I don't know what's going on. So, yeah, he was very patient, but still. But some
but
people are the marrying kind. Some
yeah.
people are. Yeah.
Well, and I think too, I was raised that you had to be married. You wanted to have a family, you had to be married. You know,
Well,
I wasn't raised there's an option, you know.
yeah. Well, my dad was married 5 times, and my mother was married 4 times.
Mm,
So, uh, marriage forever was never, a real big concept.
yeah. I
I mean,
can
I saw
imagine.
families do it. My grandparents were together forever. My uncles and aunts were together forever. It's just, in my personal world, it wasn't okay. Move on.
Yeah. Well, and I never even, most little girls think about their wedding and, their husband and all. I just knew I wanted to be a mom. And so it was like, I guess I will have to find a husband and get married to be a mom. But all I really was worried about was, I want to be a mom. So I never really even thought about what my wedding would be like or who I would marry. I didn't have all of that. I was just like, I'm going to be the best mother ever and I'm going to have a whole bunch of kids.
Yeah. Well, and then see, also, I hear it in you. And see, again, I was raised differently because I'm sorry, I'm part of that hippie era. You said I had to have a husband to have children. Who said that?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Who wrote
saying.
that? Who wrote that down? Who wrote that down?
And the funny thing about it is that that was one of those imposed
Right.
beliefs in my head.
Well, that's the family you were raised with, right?
Yeah,
That, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Because
And
my mother said it
now,
to me a long time ago. She goes, "Marriage? You don't have to be married to have a kid." Because my mother was, after that many, she was like so against marriages. Just
I
like,
bet.
if you want to have a kid, we don't marry. No.
Well, and it's like with Ani being in preschool, they did a unit on family,
Mhm.
and it was all about, there's different kinds of families.
Okay.
And you can have, all different types of relationships within what is considered a family. And
Uh-huh.
it was really interesting that Anais knows that me and my ex are Allison's mom and dad, but she's never questioned the fact that we're not together and that Nana is there, But
Yeah.
she knows she has a mom and a dad that live together,
Hmm.
you know. But it's like really when you look at it from the child's perspective, they don't really care how people are related. You love
No.
them. They're
No.
family. That's what
No.
they
She's too
care
young to
about.
worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But I'm
Yeah.
like, here they are, in preschool, they're letting them know. it's not, there's not a norm. There's not a, you're going to have it this way, this way, this way. And if you don't, something's wrong with that. Now it's being taught, there are all different ways to
Oh
make a
yeah.
family.
And you may have two mommies and you may have two daddies and you may
Right.
have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's so many kids now, like I can remember that when somebody's parents got divorced, oh my gosh, that was horrible. Now you're going to have two places to live and you're going to have two sets of parents and you're going, some of the kids that I knew that their parents got divorced, they were like, "Hey, it's the best thing ever. You get
I
more
get two
stuff, you get
Christmases,
to
I
go
get
to the
two
people you
birthdays, I
need."
get
Yeah. It's like, and they feel guilty about it. So they really shower me with everything, and stuff. And I'm like, okay, but to me, that was like a horrible situation,
Oh yeah. Well, when I think I was in second grade, we were making calendars for our parents. And on the front of this, because it was a printout, because we were in second grade, there was a printout, and it said to Mr. and Mrs. And then we wrote our last name, right? And
Mm.
I went up to the teacher and I said, I don't have a Mr. or a Mr. And I
Uh-huh.
said, I don't have a daddy. Oh my gosh. Oh, you poor thing. Oh my God. Well, we're gonna have to cover that up. Oh my gosh.
They
I
made a
just get, and I'm
big
like,
deal out of
and
it.
it wasn't a big deal to me. I didn't
Yeah.
have it. I never had one, so it wasn't
Yeah.
a big deal.
Right.
And I went home to my mother and I said, they just made a big deal about this calendar and covering up that part and blah blah blah. And she goes, I said, I don't understand why they made a big deal. She goes, well, you can't miss something you never had. And I went, yeah, exactly. I don't know any different. Just like
Yeah.
Anna East, she doesn't know any different that Granny is here and Papa is there. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were at the playground the other day and a little boy came up and was like, I'm 6 years old. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. And he says to me, and she's 4. And I said, that's right. So they had already been talking, on the playground.
Hmm.
And so she comes up and she says something, granny, this, that, or whatever. And the little boy goes, you're her granny? And I said, yeah, I'm her granny. And he said, I don't have a granny. And I said, oh, that's too bad. Grannies are a lot of fun, right? We go
Hmm.
over to the swings, and his mom, I guess, was pushing a little boy on the swing. And he walks up there and he says, she's her granny. And the lady says, oh, that's nice. And he says, I don't have a granny. And the mom says, yes, you do. La La and Mimi. Those are your grannies. And he just looked at her like,
Oh,
what? And she's like, you don't have one that is named Granny, but they can be called anything they want to be called. A granny or a grandmother is because that's your mom's mom or your dad's mom. Oh, so then he's like telling me, oh, I do, but I have a Lala and I have a Mimi. I said, well,
there you
that's
go.
great. But I mean, I didn't know how to react when he tells me he doesn't have a granny. I'm like, okay, grannies are great. You ought to go find you one.
Right.
But it's just so strange to me how society handles things now different than how I was raised. And
Yeah.
and having Anna East and even having a daughter that's 20 or 34 years younger than me. And then I got Anna East younger than her. It's like we all have, everything is different. It's like there's no right or wrong, but you have to be
Yeah.
aware of the fact you can't say things um, in a way, that, and like Allison tells me when she's pregnant, doesn't matter what the gender of the baby is, I'm raising them neutral. I'm not going to be like, oh, it's a girl, you have to wear pink, or oh, you're a boy, you got to wear
Hmm.
blue. She was like, I'm not doing that. If she's a girl, wants to play with trucks and climb trees, okay. If it's a boy and he wants to play with
Well,
the big
yeah.
dog, okay. And so
They're going to choose the toy they want to play with,
yeah, and
or you're
we've
going to have a
never
hissy fit.
said oh, you're a girl, you have to do blah blah blah, or oh,
You have to
you're a
wear ruffles and
boy.
a bow in your hair, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's like it's never been about your gender. You're a person, you know.
Yeah.
And at first, when she first told me that, I was like, oh my gosh, I did a terrible thing making her wear pink all the time because pink is
No.
one of Allison's like least favorite colors. And so
Okay.
I'm thinking she's saying, like, telling me, okay, if it's a girl, don't be buying all this pink because we're not doing that, you know. But she puts her in pink all the time. But it was the idea behind the fact that she didn't want me going around saying, oh, no, 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 truck, you're a girl. You have, you know. And that's one of the Anna East is the digging the dirt, climb the tree, play
Oh
with the
yeah.
car, play with the
She's a
truck. But
tomboy.
she's also a girly girl.
Hmm.
She wanted a little tiara the other day at the Dollar Tree because sometimes I want to be a princess. And I'm like, okay, you can get the
Well, and
tiara.
then I've seen her paint nails,
Yeah.
and play with makeup and
Jewelry. And
mhm.
she doesn't like jewelry. And then she likes this or she likes that. But I think she's being raised more with the it's okay, whatever you want to play with.
Mhm.
It's okay if you draw and stay in the lines or if you don't. It doesn't matter. Oh, that's beautiful. Look what beautiful thing you made.
Mhm.
And so she's not being raised with those expectations of you've got to do it, as regimented as I was, you
Oh,
know,
okay. Yeah,
because
because
mine
I
was
wasn't.
definitely,
Yeah, I played Hot Wheels
definitely
with my cousin. We wrestled and crap like that. And then I would play with my girl cousins, and we would play dolls and makeup and stuff like. So it was like,
yeah. Well, um, the only time or way that she even figured out that there was a difference between boys and girls is when she started the pre-K and they won't let them go in the bathroom together
okay, that's good.
because they have one bathroom,
Okay,
and so they make them take turns,
okay.
and so
But
that brought,
they have to learn to take turns anyway.
yeah. But I mean,
Yeah.
that brought that question about, why do we got to use separate bathrooms? And I had already taught her when you go to a public restroom, you look at the little figure on the door to see, like, do they have pants on or does it have a dress? Then you'll know if the boys'
Mhm.
room, the girls' room. But it
Right.
never clicked in her head that, oh, so the boy couldn't come in here or the girl couldn't go in there. It
Right.
was just, we're girls, we're going in the girls' room.
Right.
And so when it was just one bathroom for both of them to use, that was like, okay, so why is there a boys and a girls if we were going to use the same?
Right.
So that was before that she never didn't ask like, are you a girl? Are you a boy? Is daddy a
Mhm.
boy? Is daddy a girl? I mean, she
Mhm.
it wasn't something she even thought about.
No, just like you and Grandpa. It's just that's
Yeah,
just the way it is. Yeah.
that's just how her family is. She does
Uh
not
huh.
have any. I don't think she's ever questioned it yet. She may one day. Um, Edna says, I'm called Layla. That's pretty.
That is pretty.
Yeah. And that's what the mom and I tried to explain to the little boy that you don't have to be called grandma or granny or, you can be called whatever you want to be called. It's a term of endearment, whatever you want the child to know you as.
Right. Well, and then a lot of times the child will pick,
Yeah.
and that's what my mother was always told. She says, "Well, I want to be called Grams. I want to be called Grams," and everybody at her work was telling her, they're laughing at her, going, "The baby's going to call you what the baby wants to call you. The baby, the baby's going to call you what the baby wants to call you."
Yeah.
And he ended up calling her Mimi, and Mimi it was.
Yeah.
She goes, "Well, I guess that's me." And I'm like, "Yep."
Yeah.
He decided.
Well, and I think it should be. I mean, I was lucky that I picked Granny and Allison started calling me Granny.
Hmm.
So when she got old enough to realize I had a name, and it was funny when she went to the preschool or pre-K and they started telling them you have a first name, a middle name, a last name. And then she wanted to know everybody's names, you know.
Hmm.
And so now sometimes she'll say to me, Granny Echo Curtis. Yes, that's my name, you know. But it's just funny how, she did ask her mom, how come um doesn't Granny want to be a Bivens? Because that's their last name. And she knows that her name, mommy's name, and daddy's name, they're all the same. Why is
Hmm.
Granny's last name different? And then mommy said, because that was my last name before I married your dad. And then I
Hmm.
took daddy's name.
Right.
That really threw her for a loop. Like,
But
oh,
that's how you learn.
I
That's
won't
how you learn.
always
That's
be a
how,
Bivens, you know? It's like, no, nowadays you can keep your own last name. You don't have
oh,
to
yeah.
change your name when you get married.
Or you can hyphen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just funny how things change over time. And I read a book when Allison was pregnant that it's not your grandma's baby. In other words, the way that we might think to raise a child is not the current way that they raise children, you know. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of things that I just assumed were the standard and they're not. You know, it's like that's just the way that I was raised.
And that's hopefully it gets better with each generation, and it
Yes.
gets stronger and more knowledge. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it is we need to be moving forward. We don't need to be holding on to these unrealistic things that don't work in the world, you know. We
Yeah.
need to make it to where, we're not giving our kids a complex and we're not making decisions for them. And, I read something today who said about my 4-year old brain doesn't understand whatever. And I was like, now, see, I don't agree with that because I don't care if she's 3, 4, 5, 20, whatever. There are certain things you need to just accept and learn that that's the way things are. You
Right.
know, if you wait till somebody's brain can understand something, they may never be able to understand it.
Well, or they may have already made assumptions about it.
Yeah,
So they don't understand it, but with the pieces they have, they've already made assumptions about it, which could not be totally correct. Yeah,
yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah. But I do believe that you people tend to think kids are older if they, especially if they act older than they are, like they may not be fully developed to that age range that they can perform at on certain things, but because they do so well in speaking or writing or whatever, we just
Present
assume that
themselves.
they can understand,
Hmm.
and some things they might not, be able to
Right.
understand.
You still have to
And
understand it's still a 4-year-old brain, as you said. It's still a
yeah,
4-year-old brain.
exactly. And I
Yeah.
love hearing her tell me, how what she recognizes about things and things that she does and things that happen and her take on what happened and stuff. I love when she tells me, stuff that her mom did or whatever. And I'm like, I told Allison, you're never going to be able to have a secret from me if that child is involved in it. She will tell me right away, oh, you know what my mama did? And I'm like,
Well,
I
has Allison
told
come to you and
you.
said, your words came out of my mouth? Has she said that to you
Oh
yet?
yeah. Oh,
Right?
hmm. Hmm. Allison went through this phase where she didn't believe anything I said about
Hmm.
her growing up. And I had to get out pictures and be like, yes, this is, Now Anais doesn't remember being a baby. So she
Okay.
doesn't think she ever was a baby.
Okay.
And so she's been asking to see her baby pictures.
Okay.
And we've been going through pictures, talking about different things. She has no memory of it. And they don't until they're about 3.5, 4 years old, whatever.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
because she can remember things now and doesn't remember being a baby, it's like she doesn't believe she ever was a baby,
Okay.
right? We know she was a baby. Yes, you definitely were a baby. And Allison was like, I don't get this. I don't understand why, we got pictures, baby pictures of her all over the place. Why doesn't she, understand? Yes, everybody's the baby, And I said, well, do you remember telling me that, we never did this, that, or the other until I showed you pictures and then you believed me? And she was like, you're right. I didn't have any memory of those things, so I didn't believe you.
Well, and also she's an only child, you know.
Allison was an only child too.
Okay, but I'm saying that if Anais had
If she had had
understanding that
another baby.
babies grow and
Yeah,
could see that
yeah,
and remember that, then she could understand that she's doing the same
yeah.
thing. You know?
But so now when she looks at the baby picture, she's like, oh, I was a baby or whatever. But it's like, Allison, see the same thing. You thought I was not telling you right. She
Right.
doesn't think you're telling her right. I said, thank goodness we have pictures. We can prove, you know, what
Right.
we're saying because we had the pictures. But it's a normal part of kids growing up. But
Right.
I never had a child before. I didn't think that was normal. I was like, what do you mean you don't believe me? I'm your mother. Why would I lie to you?
Right.
So yeah, that kind of stuff. And then even when Allison was like a teenager, we'd be with somebody and we'd be telling a story about something that happened. Well, she would be remembering it from her perspective.
Right.
And I would remember it from my perspective.
Right.
And she would stop me and be like, that's not how it happened. This is what happened.
Mhm.
And I would always be like, that is so rude for you to interrupt me. Even if I'm telling the story wrong, don't say anything. You can tell me later that I made a mistake or I said the
Right.
wrong thing. Let me just go ahead and tell my story. But to her, it was like, no, wait, I did not have on a red shirt. I had on a pink shirt. Okay,
Mhm.
so yes, thank you. I stand corrected that, whatever. But now Anais is doing it to her.
Mhm.
She'll say something about, well, we left school and we went here, there, and the other, and she'll mix up the order. And Anais will be like, no, first we went this place, then we went, you know, or whatever. And Allison's like, does that make any difference? To Anais, it does. That's her perspective of what happened. Even
Yeah.
though they both went to the same places and basically the same thing happened, but that one little detail was different. So, because Anais is a kid, she feels like she needs to speak up and say, no, that's wrong. That didn't happen like that.
Right.
But yet, Allison, and I'm like, Allison, you're only getting paid back exactly what you did to me. It's like, this is
But I
what
always did that when other was going through that. I would look at him and go, okay, and I would just lean back and I go, okay, then you tell the story,
not,
you
that's
know.
what I used
And
to
then
do.
it gave them practice on telling a story, and
Mhm.
then also usually it was a little snicker. I would get a little snicker because the story would get, and they would get lost and it would start trembling off, you know.
Exactly. But that's what kids do.
That's
Those
what they do.
are normal things that kids do. But if
And
you've not
especially when
had
their
it,
memory starts really kicking in strong,
yeah.
because it's a new thing. A memory is a new thing, so they want to make sure everything is correct, you know.
And like when Anais first started school, we'd say, what'd you have for lunch? I had some food or I had some stuff.
Hmm.
Like she couldn't remember what it was.
Right.
Now she knows and she'll say, I had apples and milk and a hamburger or,
Hmm.
whatever. And sometimes she can tell you all the choices that were on the plate. And then she'll tell you of that what she actually ate. You know,
Oh, okay.
but there at first, she wasn't used to having to remember what I
Right.
ate. And I
Hmm.
don't think she was used to having to, like, being away from us, that we wouldn't have known what she ate. That, oh,
Yeah.
I better
Or
remember
what did
this.
you learn in school today? I don't
Yeah,
know. I
yeah.
don't know.
So now she knows, hey, if they're not with me, they don't know. And when they ask me what I did, I got to tell them, you
Right.
know. So she's remembering those kind of things.
Right.
But she'll also do things like, you know, you'll say, oh, I don't have any popcorn. Well, Granny, next time you go to the store, you better get popcorn because when I come back over here, I'm going to want popcorn. And then if you still don't have popcorn, she's like, I reminded you needed popcorn. I'm like, no, you
Right.
told me point blank I better go buy you popcorn, but I didn't put it on the list. It's like, now she'll tell me, Granny, put it on the list because she knows Granny's not going to remember. So if you want something, you better tell me put it on that list and make sure I did put it on that list.
Right.
But it's just funny how, you raise your kids the best you know how. And then however you raise them, they turn around and they're going to raise their kids the best they know how, and sometimes you're going to agree on everything and sometimes you're not. But I
Right.
made the decision that she was going to be the boss. When it came to her child, she was going to be the boss. And if it meant me having to bite my tongue when she did something, I would do
Well,
that.
yeah, it's her kid. Yeah.
It's her kid. And I didn't want her to be, play granny against mama or play mama against daddy or whatever,
Yeah, she's
But
adorable.
no, this is what we're going to do. And I've always done that. And even when I've had to get on to Anais about something, I'll tell her, I'm not going against what your mama said. Your mama said no. The answer's got to be no.
Mm.
If your mama hadn't told me no, then yeah, I could do it. But she already said no, and that's it. And a couple of times Anais has been like, well, we don't have to tell mama.
Oh,
Yeah, you're going to get in big trouble when we stop because you got a big mouth, child. You can't
yeah.
keep a secret. So you might be
You
telling
know the first thing she'll do, Mama, guess what we did?
yeah. After you told Granny no, Granny did it anyway. Yeah, no, you're not getting me in that situation. And she got in trouble Friday. And when I picked her up, she got in the car. And usually I'll say, how was your day today? She'll say, good day. I didn't get in the corner. So that particular day, I didn't say anything. And she gets in the car and she says, I got in the corner today.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, oh, well, what happened? So she proceeds to tell me that it was time for them to go sit on the carpet quiet, get ready to do something. And there was 2 or 3 of them and they were dancing and doing dance moves. And they kept dancing. And
Uh-oh.
they got told to go to the carpet a couple of times. And then they were told to go to the corner until they could come sit on the carpet. Well, she's real paranoid about Allison being mad at her and she's in trouble. So now she gets in trouble at home too, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I proceed to tell her, look, if mom asks you, did you get in the corner? You have to say yes. And you have to tell her what happened. If mom doesn't ask you, you don't necessarily have to volunteer and tell her that, but you told me. So that's good that you told me the truth.
Right.
So I didn't mention it to Allison. I didn't say anything else about it to Anais. Allison picks her up Saturday afternoon. A little bit later, she calls me and she says, why didn't you tell me Anais got in the corner? And I said, well, first of all, that's her business to tell you. Second of all, I figured the teacher might have already told you because the teacher has talked to her before.
Right.
And thirdly, I wanted to see if Anais would tell you the truth or not. Because I
Right.
told her she would have to tell you the truth if you asked her. And she said, but I didn't ask her. It's like she gets in the car, she starts telling me what all happened Friday and what all y'all did. And she must have felt guilty because then she tells her, oh, and Friday I got in the corner.
Well, good.
She
Good.
didn't tell her, and I said, yep, that's exactly what she told me happened. And I told her that everybody gets in trouble once in a while, and it's okay. But then next time, listen to the teacher. And when they tell you to go get on the carpet, go get on the carpet. And Allison was like, well, that's what I told her too, that it's okay. Those things happen, but not, try not to get in trouble. And I said, so that's it. It's over and done with. You don't need to discipline her or anything. She understood what she did was wrong, and she also knew she needed to tell us. And she told
Right.
us. I said, so leave it at that. And she was like, yeah, I wouldn't get mad at her over that. I said, but she doesn't know that.
Right.
She doesn't know that there are certain things that if safety is involved, you're going to be mad if she runs out in the street. It's going to be different than her getting in the corner at preschool,
Right.
So I said, you have to handle it the same way because you want them to tell you the truth, not to be afraid to tell you what happened.
Not to hide from you.
And not to, try to act like, or even when they're confronted with it, lie about it, But Allison was like, why didn't you tell me? I was like, oh, it's not my business to tell, you know.
Right.
Now, if you had asked me, did she say if she got in the corner or not, then I would have had to say yes. She said she
Hmm.
did. You need to ask her about it, you know. But I wasn't going to just like report to Allison. Oh, and by the way,
Yeah.
because then
You're
I
not a
know what.
tattletale,
Yeah.
right?
Then I and a lot of mine too is that I want Anais to know I respect her boundaries and I respect her confidences. That she can tell me anything, and I'll
Right.
try to handle it the best I know how to handle it. But I'm not going to automatically rat her out.
Right.
You know, it's like some things are worth getting in trouble over, and some things aren't. But to me, it's hard being a grandparent because you definitely don't want them to say, well, you don't need to be around them, or I don't like the way you do this or do that. And so I try to be very cautious about things. But it's not the same. We're not raising kids in the same day and age that we were
No,
raised
we're not.
in, or that
Mhm.
we even raised our kids in. And me having a bad relationship with my mom, that's the last thing I want is for me to have that kind of relationship with Allison and Allison to have it with her daughter. I want us
Right.
to have broken that cycle and let's do it in a more understanding, loving way than we
Well,
have done it.
well, you were talking about kids being raised different. Okay. It's only been what, 2 years since I was turned on to Canva. I want you to know my friend has a 10-year-old child in school and they are working on Canva.
Wow.
Yeah, their computers are set up for Canva. I went, they have Canva. I went, can you give me the link for free? But I'm like, they're 10 and they're working on Canva. I'm struggling with it every single day and exploring with it, I should say.
Yeah.
But I'm like, my goodness, I wouldn't even thought at 10 years old that would it even exist, much less, playing with it.
Well, when Allison was at the daycare, so that was before she was 4, because she did pre-K when she was 4. Um, they had, so we're talking 24 years ago or so, 25 years
Hmm.
ago, they
Hmm.
had a guy that would come around and you could pay extra that they paid him, and they would teach them computer stuff. And they had a mouse that was a ball, so it rolled around
Hmm.
easily, for their little hands to do it.
Hmm.
And I paid for her to have those computer classes.
Okay.
Now, what she teaches in 3rd grade, all of their tests are done on a Chromebook, on a little computer. And so it's like they need to know how to do stuff on computer,
Well,
and
I
it's
want you to know
amazing.
my I took a typing class in high school,
Hmm.
and my year was the last year. The next year they got all new ones, but my year was the last year they had manual typewriters. Folks, remember manual typewriters? The
Yep.
next year they had electric typewriters, manual typewriters. And this
Yep.
is in high school, and these people are 10 years old and they're playing on Canva. It's like, oh my goodness, how the world has changed. I love it, but
My new
it's
phone,
mind
right?
boggling.
I don't know how to change pictures on my screen, or I don't know how to do much of anything. I have to get help to do it. The other day, Anais was watching something on my phone. She hands me my phone back, and my, what do they call it?
Screensaver?
Yeah, or wallpaper or whatever it is.
Oh, the
She
wallpaper.
didn't
Okay.
change the picture on it. And I'm like, how, show Granny how you did that? Because I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Uh huh.
And she's like, well, you hit that right there, and you hit that. It shows you your pictures. You pick which picture you want, and you hit save. And there you go. I'm like, now how does she know at 4 years old how to do this?
Right? Right? It's just amazing. It's just amazing.
I
It's
I
mind-boggling.
never let her use my phone with my old phone because my battery always died. It was
Mhm.
like basically I had to have that thing charging all the time to keep it
Okay.
charged. And so if we were in the car or we went somewhere, I never could just let her watch stuff on my phone because my phone would be dead.
Mhm.
But with this phone I can. So she has a tablet in a protective case for children that Allison has all the parental locks on it and has stuff downloaded on it that she can use and all of that.
Mhm.
Normally, if they're going on a trip or whatever, she'll have that. But when I go to get her on Friday, we go to her house to get all her stuff to come spend the night. And I always say, do you want to bring that? Nope, I'll just watch your phone. And I'm like, well, we'll be at my house most of the time watching the TV. So, it'll be okay. But she's like, Granny, I can find this and I can find that. And I'm like, well, okay. And I said, Allison, why is she amazed she can find this different stuff? She said, because she's used to parental locks on her tablet to where she can't just scroll through YouTube.
Right.
You can scroll through kid YouTube, but
Mhm.
not regular YouTube.
Right.
And I was like,
Care
oh,
Bear.
now I would never have even thought about that
Right.
me handing her my phone, she could get into stuff she wasn't supposed to.
Yeah. She got open to a whole new world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Care Bears World. Carrie, welcome in. But yeah, I never even thought about that being a problem. And Allison's like, why do you think I don't give her my phone? Why do you think I give her her tablet that I've already set it up? And I'm like, makes sense. Really, it does.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And that's the reason she likes using your phone.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And she
Mhm.
even wants me to get different stuff on my phone than I already have. Like, you know, this app or that app. And I'm like, no, I don't need that. I don't want that,
Right.
you know. But she's 4.
Oh yeah, it'll get worse, honey.
I'm like, oh my goodness.
It'll get worse.
It's crazy. Well, we've been on here for, I can't even
3 hours
3 hours. Okay.
because we started at 2 your time.
2.
Remember?
Oh my gosh, and it's already 5. Okay.
Uh huh. You
Well,
need to eat
I
because
was gonna say,
aren't
I
you?
need
Are
to
you and
go.
Stephanie going to get together tonight?
Yeah, we're doing it at
Okay, so you
7.
need to eat.
So I need to eat. You're right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Body Illusion. This was fun. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Not this next Sunday, but the following Sunday. All right. Thank y'all so much.